Music. It's not just part of our daily lives, it's part of our wrestling fandom as well, and it has been for decades. That's where this show comes in. Music of the Mat, the podcast devoted exclusively to the music of pro wrestling, hosted by Andrew Rich. Hey, that's me. Each episode delivers a different topic with a variety of great guests, fun conversations, musical analysis, and of course, a heartfelt pun or two. New episodes drop every other Tuesday on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, or your podcast app of choice. Check out Music of the Mat only on the Voices of Wrestling Podcast Network.
This podcast is a member of the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network. Visit voicesofwrestling.com to hear the rest of our great podcasts, as well as show reviews, columns, opinions, and updates across the world of wrestling.
Here we go! Kiss me like I'm love star. So I'm a coward. Whoa, whoa, kimi ga kata omoi, namida no shitsure mo. Give me fire, give me double chatters.
You're listening to the Emerald Flow Show on the Voices of Wrestling Podcast Network.
Hello and welcome to episode 50 of the Emerald Flow Show. We're a podcast on the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network, and you can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, the I think currently still existing Google Podcasts, but also we have a kind of feed on YouTube podcasts as now, just in preparation for Google Podcasts going away. And you can really find us anywhere where good podcasts are found. I am not Gerard the Trollio, as you might have already realized, but I am Paul Folch, the other host of the Emerald Flow Show, and unfortunately something came up for Gerard, and he is not going to be able to join us for this episode. So what I decided to do instead is I decided to grab myself a co-host, and it is my pleasure to introduce to you the Shin Nihon Tribal Chief himself, VOW Zone, Jeff Andrews. Jeff, how are you doing?
I'm not doing bad. Yeah, it's a departure for me. Normally, I only pop onto these shows when I'm talking about New Japan or Doomer posting about American wrestling. So it'll be nice to talk about some other Puro that I can enjoy and some that I don't. Yeah, it should be fun.
I have seen some of your takes. I think we're in for some spicy debates, to be honest. So yes, but kind of without further ado, I think we're kind of gonna launch straight into Pro Wrestling Noah. With the actually maybe first of all kind of generally Jeff, because it's something that I like to do when I bring on like a guest host. Kind of what is your current kind of perception of Pro Wrestling Noah in general?
I think my interest in Noah is really at an all-time low. I think the best guys on the roster, except for Kaito, are kind of regressing, and I think Kaito feels less featured and potentially less engaged than he has been previously. I still think Go and Keno are some of the best wrestlers in the world, but after those guys in Kaito, I think the card gets very thin. I'm not a good looking guys guy. Um, I'm not a Jake Lee stan. I think he's fine. I was actually hoping New Japan would sign him when he became a free agent, but obviously my hope for that wasn't that they put the world title on him. It was that he would be the third heavyweight in the stable. So um, Noah clearly had much bigger plans for him than I was hoping New Japan would. Yeah, I as far as like the shows they run, everything looks great from a production standpoint. Um, I can only dream that New Japan had that level of production at this stage. It's really, I mean, the shows look phenomenal, and I remember thinking that during the Muda retirement tour, which I was tuning in for. Um, I just thought like those shows looked exceptional. Um, but I mean, really, it's it just I don't know how to explain it other than after losing Nakajima, who was my favorite non New Japan wrestler in the world, um, my interest is uh, has dwindled pretty heavily.
Okay, okay. Yeah, no, I think a lot of those points are very fair, and I think one of the major reasons I think for like why Noah's a bit of a malaise, I think, lies with kind of who used to be the champion, but I think we'll get into that a bit more when we talk about the main event of this show. So let's get into the show. So the Noah Demolition Stage 2023 in Fukuoka on October 28th from the Fukuoka International Center in front of 1,309 fans. So just for quick some notes on kind of that number. It is about 100 more than they drew in Fukuoka last year, which that's not, I mean, at least compared to kind of how Noah's trend has been for a lot of like shows this year, I guess at least we can say that it is up in any way if we would kind of want to like frame this in a positive light. But I think really the main thing to keep this in perspective is that Dragon Gate in the same building for Final Gate in 2022 drew 2,589 people. So like nearly twice as much as Noah did
Yeah,
here. And it's not like Dragon Gate right now is exactly a hot promotion either. So
strange. I've always
while it is nice that they at least kind of kept numbers stable, it is still kind of not great to see that like a promotion like Dragon Gate, which again presumably has a fraction of the budget of Noah, is kind of very easily kind of just trouncing them in terms of like drawing numbers. What did you think, Jeff, of kind of like the number that he drew here and kind of the crowd in general?
I don't think it's a good number. I think we're long past the point where we can kind of deduce that the Muda thing maybe didn't set the company up long term for success. It was just a short term grab as far as money and fandom was concerned. Um, and you know, I think by and large, um, if you're pro wrestling Noah and you can't outdraw Dragon Gate at this stage when both companies are kind of not doing well, that's probably not a great sign for your prospects as the number two or even three company in the country at this stage.
Yeah, I mean we're really far away from them. Like remember because like not that long ago they were like giving big speeches about wanting to challenge New Japan, and we're really far away from that point at this stage. Like I don't think that's even really arguable in any way that like they are in no way, shape, or form like a threat to New Japan's status as the number one company in
However,
Japan.
if you'd like to have those arguments anyway, you can join the VOW Discord. And
Now, to be fair, we had people doing a lot of arguing, but I don't think, like, I think even the most hardcore Noah fans in there, I think, don't make those points anymore. However, if you're somehow still like the last person on this planet that wants to argue that, then feel free to join us.
yeah,
Just don't expect to not find people that won't push back on that very heavily, and a lot of them are like actual Noah fans too. Okay, so we're kind of gonna run pretty quickly through like the undercard because I don't think there really was all that much really to kind of talk about there, and then we're kind of gonna dig into a bit more into kind of the top four, but especially kind of the top two matches as well. So to kind of start off the show, in the first match we had Akitoshi Saito, Stallion Rogers, and Kai Fujimura defeat Muhammad Yone, Taishi Ozawa, and Yu Wada in 7 minutes and 49 seconds. When Fujimura used a crab hold on Owada, nice little opener. Shuji Kondo, Seki Yoshioka, Ninja Mac Alejandro, and Teriyaki defeat Atsushi Kotoge, High 69, Hajime Ohara, Extreme Tiger, and Junta Miyawaki in 10 minutes and 14 seconds when Yoshioka used a crash driver on Miyawaki. So Miyawaki's losing streak continues yet again, but there might actually be something that they're setting up with him at the moment, but that was happening on the last show as well. On the not on the last show, on the next show. Then we had Kaito Kiyomiya and Ryohei Oiwa defeat Anthony Green and LG Cleary, the glut-looking guys, in 40 minutes and 5 seconds when Oiwa pinned Green.
Wait, how long?
So, yeah. 14 minutes and 5 seconds.
Okay, sorry. I thought
4 minutes and 5 seconds?
I thought 40.
Oh, 40. No.
was-
No, it's a 40-minute undercut, random undercut tag to set up a
lost
title
my train
match
of thought.
that went like 20 minutes. No. I mean, to be fair, I think those four could pull that. Oh, well, I don't know about LJ. I think the other ones can pull that off. Um, I don't think I've ever seen LJ in a match that long, so I don't know if he could. But I mean, at the very least, they would put a decent match up
Yeah,
on that. But yeah, I mean, in general, yeah.
I'd like to see Oiwa.
No,
I'd
go on.
like to see Oiwa get some longer chances to shine. I do intend to kind of tune into Noah occasionally for his tag title or his tag title matches and things like that because I've seen him
Mhm.
wrestle now 3 times in Noah. And he's looked really good. And obviously, as the Shin Nihon Tribal Chief, I've got to see how much stock I'm going to put in him upon his return. So
Yeah, I think you can definitely put some stock into his return. I mean, me and Gerard have talked about this a bit, where it's like it kind of makes Noah look like shit that like this like young boy, this young lion just comes in and just gets pushed. But I think he is showing a lot of potential. I think he is definitely someone that like it's very weird that they're doing this like inter Japan excursion with him. But so far, I think it's working. Like he is getting over, and he's clearly showing like he's getting a ton of shine, and he is showing a lot of potential. I think it helps teaming with Kaito. Like for all of the dunking we do on Kaito, which also fun fact, I actually looked at our analytics. It seems actually that's like a thing that a lot of people tune into is when we bury Kaito. So as much as we kind of do that, he is still a really good
Kaito's
wrestler.
phenomenal. I really don't get the hate. I mean I get it. He's a bit of a geek. Not like he had much choice at the end of the day. He's a under 30-year-old in puro culture. That's just I mean if no one he was never going to get to tell Muto no. I never liked that argument. He was never going to get to like no sorry Muta it doesn't work for me bro. Like that was never going to happen. So I've always thought putting the blame on him instead of where it rightfully belongs was a bit shitty. Um, I really enjoyed his G1 run. I selfishly hope he leaves that. Selfishly hope he leaves No and goes to New Japan. Because more young guys from New Japan is always a perk, and Noah doesn't seem to have much interest in using talent under the age of 45. So, I guess Kaito can join a real company, or wait till he's wait another 20 years.
Well, to be fair, I mean, what I will say is Noah has like they have kind of moved away like post Muto retirement from only pushing like really old guys. Like I think that if you kind of look at the current champions, they are actually generally a bit more on the younger side. It's just that they have kind of failed over such a long time to kind of properly position younger guys like in the right way that like it doesn't help business right now. But they are at least pushing some younger guys. Now, to be fair, a lot of those younger guys are foreigners, and historically, that's not the best way to build business in Japan.
No, it's not.
But at least there's some like I think actually I would need to do the numbers. But if I actually look at the average like champion age in Noah, it might actually be on the lower end in Japan.
Ooh, I don't know how old Jake Lee is. I know he feels old, but he feels old because he's been pushed for a while, failing.
He's been around forever, but he also started pretty young. Like I think how old is Jake? I think Jake is 35 if I remember correctly.
So he's around
Let
the
me
same
look.
age.
34.
Okay.
So Jake is
So
34.
he's a little younger than Sanada. But isn't
Yeah.
Keno 40-ish?
Keno is 38, but then for example like Dragonbane and Alpha Wolf are like in their early 20s. Like they've just been around forever because like they're luchadors, so they started when they were 16. So that's why they're 10-year veterans, but they're like still in their like I think they're like 23 and 24.
Yeah, I guess I just don't associate their junior division with the macro trends of the company itself because it feels like the division they pay the least attention to, at least from an outsider perspective.
I mean, I would like, for example, like the junior heavyweight tag
Mm.
titles have very often, if they were on the same show as the heavyweight tag
Mm.
titles, have very often been higher on the card, and they have, for example, used the junior tag titles as like main events for Kurikan as well, and that actually has popped some numbers for them too.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me. Dragonbane in particular looks really good. The few times I've tuned in to see him, I do think New Japan could afford to take a page out of their book with going with younger, more exciting talents at the top of the junior card. I think
Yes.
more so because, not to get on a New Japan tangent, but I do think one thing that the other companies have they don't. The Noah juniors work a junior style to me, a modern junior style, whereas the New Japan juniors right now sometimes come across like they're trying to cosplay heavyweight. And it really loses a lot of the uniqueness and flavor to me that you used to be afforded by the junior division, if that makes sense.
You know what? I've actually for a long time kind of tried to put my finger on why I'm just so down on the current like New Japan kind of junior division, and I think you kind of nailed it there. We're like, yeah, they are kind of cosplaying heavyweights, whereas I like because for example like the junior heavyweight tag titles for a long while were like one of my least favorite titles in Noah
Mm.
because they just had these like endless stinger bullshit matches with loads of interference and just not very good in ring work. But kind of since they kind of pivoted to kind of like having like Yohei and Tadasuke and like Dragonbane and Alpha Wolf, and they just have these kind of like they might not be the most crisp matches, right? But they're exciting. Like there's a lot of like action going on and like just people flying all over the ring and all of that, and it's
You know,
like it is just a lot. Like there's a lot of
yeah,
excitement in them. Is I
Yohei and
think the best way
Tadasuke
to
really,
sum it up.
really impressed me on the LIJ versus Congo show from the beginning of
Yeah,
the year. They were much better than I thought they were. And so that doesn't surprise me. And yeah, I think that I can see where that division is probably helping, and certainly in Noah's position, you lean into that wherever you can. I guess my perspective is I don't trust them to have the junior division be reflective of more macro trends within the company. But
yes, no, that's for sure. No, no, no. I do agree on that. But like, because for example, like I was also specifically talking about the junior heavyweight tag division, because the junior singles title very much is like not in a great stage.
no,
But
yeah,
yeah, we'll get into that a bit more as well. Okay, so then to get back into the show, so to kind of run for the undercut a bit more, Masaki Tamiya, Manabu Soya, Daiki Inaba, and their I think still yet unnamed stable defeat Hideki Suzuki, Saxon Huxley, and Shui Taniguchi of Real in 40 minutes 37 seconds when Soya pinned Huxley after a jumping DDT. Um, Again, that would also make a lot more sense after the main event. Hayata and Eita defeat, or not, they don't defeat. It's actually a double pinfall finish against Daga and Yoshinari Ogawa in 30 minutes 25 seconds in the feud that will never end because okay, Jeff, as kind of someone that isn't really like a super regular on this, how long do you kind of think this whole thing has been like going on and like varying kind of combinations?
6 months.
Nah, it's more like 2 years.
All right.
Yes.
Oh wow. Okay, never mind. You know what? I have decided to take back all the comments I made about New Japan's junior division. Actually, that's not true. We've had that same permutation of Taiji Ishimori and Hiromu going on for at least 12 years. Um, Not actually, but it sure feels that way. So, I don't know.
No, but this is like actually
Oh
non-stop.
my god.
Yeah, exactly. That's how I feel
You
about it at this point.
tortured soul.
Okay, and then we have Katsuhiko Nakajima's last match in Noah, but he will soon pop up. Rather, we know where he went, obviously, because he already popped up in All Japan, kind of before the show even happened, which I don't know, kind of made this feel a
Do,
little bit
do you
weird.
mind doing a brief detour on the Nakajima departure?
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah, sure.
I understand that the consensus is that he's a bit of a, I don't know if prick is the right word, but um,
No, that's exactly what
yeah.
he is.
But I will never not think that he was a huge dropped ball for Noah in this particular era. I mean, he is one of the greatest wrestlers in the world, just flatly.
Yes.
Um, he was a
Yeah.
wrestler that had a genuine connection to the fans. I understand his first run wasn't gangbusters business, but I don't think he was set up to succeed in any way. I think he had an almost identical arc to Naito, where his second incarnation really fit him substantially better than what he was typecasted for initially. And
Hmm.
I just think never going back to him fully was an incredible missed opportunity for a company that couldn't really afford to have one. Um, it's just to me it
See,
just feels
yep.
like a shame of yeah, part of it's his fault. I'm not trying to take away from that. Obviously, you shouldn't be shoot KOing partner companies champions. Um, if your reputation for being a prick,
Breaking people's collarbones, even if those people later turn. Oh no, wait, jaw. Sorry, he broke his jaw.
uh,
Not breaking people's jaw, even if that person then later turns out to be a sex offender. But that's besides
yeah,
the point.
well, okay, he should get some forgiveness for that, right? But I mean,
Yeah, in hindsight, actually, that one looks way better
yeah,
than
yeah,
it did
yeah. Nakajima
originally.
is actually a hero, on par with the Great Okan. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I'll never think like that he couldn't have been more than what he was positioned as. Um, and I think that's a shame for a company like Noah, where he was still relatively young. I mean, I think, if not the same age as Jake Lee, very close. Um,
Yes, he's another one of those guys where he just started super young. That's why he's been around like forever at this point. Like he's been around since like the mid 2000s,
yeah,
which is insane.
he, and,
But yeah, he's only in his mid 30s now.
yeah,
Like he is peaking.
yeah. So I just wanted to at least touch on that. I'm a big Nakajima stan, and I really don't care about the backstage elements of his tenure there. So I'm obviously maybe not the best person to give that opinion, but yeah, I don't know. I wish they would have done more with him.
I mean, so until like very recently, as in like a couple of days ago, I would have very easily disagreed with you just simply because he was a champion twice and business really bombed when he was champion twice. And I did think that for like the second title run, they did do a lot of good work of building him up properly, kind of really kind of having him adopt this new character, forming the Axis team, kind of using that to build
Mm.
him up, have him turn on Go to kind of get more heat on him, and then kind of like have him win the N1 and then and they built that and win one up really well as well, and then have him go as champion, and then it just didn't reflect in business at all. But what has kind of changed, where I was like for the longest time was like, well, I can't really fault Noah for then not going with him after that. But I mean, for example, he did then pop a huge house this year in Korakuen against Kento.
Mhm.
And he did, as we're going to talk about a bit later, he did pop a house as well now on the Sapporo show for all Japan. And let me tell you, as someone that kind of looked at that was kind of like looking, like I am going to Japan, as I've talked about a lot for New
Mhm.
Year's. And one of the big shows there is obviously the show December 30th in Yoyogi for all
I'm
Japan.
so fucking
And they
jealous.
have already announced this, like they already have announced, okay, spoilers, they already have announced um Nakajima versus Kento for the Triple Crown at that show, and tickets are flying off the shelves for that show. Like they are very likely, very likely going to sell out the floor. They are very likely going to break at least 2,000 people for that show. So at that point, was Noah just unlucky that like Nakajima kind of is now turning the corner and is now turning into a draw just as he's leaving the promotion, or did they still in some ways kind of fuck up both of his title reigns by not promoting him properly? And now that he's kind of freed from those shackles, he is turning actually into like an actual business mover.
I think it's a little bit of both.
I think, yeah,
Well, and I also think it's like um, Nakajima has more fresh opponents in All Japan. Um,
yes,
Unfortunately, all the matches he could do, even with the new persona he had already run through. So there.
hmm
I do think there's something to the. This usually doesn't happen in Puro, but also jumping from promotion to promotion. Creating fresh matchups, getting to kind of present yourself to a new crowd, as well as bring the one that was with you prior to. I mean, I'm sure some of those people tuning in for the Kento match aren't All Japan fans necessarily. I didn't particularly have a lot of interest in All Japan this year until Kento popped, or not Kento, until Nakajima popped up. I mean, when he popped in, my interest peaked. I tuned in. I got to see, some of the people down card I thought were pretty good. Some of the issues I have with the promotion still were present. But, I wouldn't have given it much time at all if Nakajima hadn't made an appearance. So I think it's a little bit of column A and a little bit of column B. I think a fresh coat of paint probably helps him, and who knows, maybe he'll eventually go back, and this current run of business success will translate to Noah more so than if he hadn't left at all.
yeah, no, I think that's fair. I mean, I think there is actually a very direct comparison we can draw to like, well, his former tag team partner in Go
Mm.
Shiozaki, because Go Shiozaki, right, for the longest time, he was like always. No one disagreed that Go was a great worker, but he always, whenever he was put on top, business just didn't really pick up in any way until his like most recent title run, when he really kind of started popping like numbers for Noah and really kind of establishing himself as like, yeah, I am becoming a draw. And I think maybe now is finally the time, but maybe now is finally, after all this time, Nakajima does turn into a draw, and it's just that Noah got unlucky that it's happening as he's exiting the promotion at All Japan, and then I assume probably New Japan eventually is gonna be like benefiting from that a lot more.
Yeah, I think that's probably accurate. I hope so. I would love to see Nakajima in New Japan. I'd like him to sign him to one of those lifetime contracts that Bushi signed. But
Yeah. Well, do you really want that?
but
Do you really want him to sign an Ibushi contract?
well, okay, but this time make it for real. Like not the fake lifetime contract. Um, I mean, it might have been
And
Ibushi
also,
might have had a lifetime
you know,
contract.
in case also give some mental health
Yeah, right.
mental
Well, I mean, it could have been a lifetime contract, which is maybe why Ibushi felt compelled to talk about Yakuza ties. He knew that was his only way out of the lifetime contract. It's like, how do I get out of this? I've got
Yeah,
it.
maybe. No, I mean I haven't gotten them yet, but have applied for tickets for. I have obviously tickets. I had tickets for What's the
Mm.
Kingdom. I have also applied for tickets for New Year's Dash, and I have a strong feeling he's going to pop up there.
Oh man, yeah, that would be.
I think this might like it depends. It depends. If he wins at Yoyogi, then obviously he's not. Like then he's sticking around in All Japan for a bit longer. I think at that point he will probably stick around until after the Champion Carnival.
Mhm.
But if he is losing it to Kento and then like putting someone over on like the 1-2 or 1-3 show, then I think he's definitely popping up in New Japan at New Year's Dash.
Yeah, I can't see all Japan being able to. I mean, they're having an uptick this year. I'm really happy for them, but I don't think they have the.
No, they have a shoestring
Yeah,
budget.
they don't have. I don't think they have the budget for somebody with Nakajima's pedigree at this stage, unfortunately.
Now, okay, actually, okay, we'll get to the show back in a moment, but I want your thoughts on this as since you're like more of the New Japan
Mhm.
guy. And you have watched a bit of All Japan now. And obviously like what do you think All Japan could do if they had like actual corporate backing? And obviously that would allow them, for example, to like bring in more people as well and all of that and improve their production and all of
Well, I
that.
certainly think it would improve the full shows. I mean, usually on any All Japan card, there are at least 3 to 4 matches that are just simply not worth your time. Um, I think in Puro, it's actually not the worst thing in the world to rely on the older guys. I would like to see All Japan rely on older guys more, not less, because I think there's a wealth of underused talent right now that just happens to be over the age of 45, whether it be Shima or Yuji Nagata or Kojima or Suzuki. And while they've booked, I know Nagata and Suzuki this year, I would like to see them book them more frequently.
And
And
Kojima.
Kojima, I did forget that. You're right. I would like to see them being used more prominently. I think like Suzuki to me, I don't get the point in bringing him in for undercard tags. Um, I that just to me he should be building to a program with one of your younger baby faces, and he should be putting them over. Like, and I'm sure that's I'm sure getting Suzuki to do that maybe is a different fee or is a touch more difficult than just having him come in and work a pretty lax third match on the card tag. But I think that's where the value is in those guys, not just having them appear as names on the card. Um, I think obviously some production things would improve. I think I remember when Nakajima won the title, and I was spoiler shit, but I was sorry. Uh,
Well, we already talked. No, we already talked about him having a like being in the title match
yeah,
with
that's true.
Yoyogi. That cat's out of the
All right.
bag.
I remember when he won the title, and I like the audio track of his theme sounded like it was being played on a tape recorder next to the camera. So that was like strange. It just felt a little rinky dink to me. Not that it's weird because New Japan itself isn't a stranger to kind of rinky dink production at times. Um, to me, as a company New Japan should probably be doing better as a company that has the backing they do, as far as that stuff is concerned. Um, but yeah, I think overall, yeah, I mean, All Japan's, I think the top of All Japan's card is really good right now, which to me is in theory what you need for a period of success. But I think um, I'm sure some people watch, full shows and they see the first 4 matches and, probably aren't. I'm sure there are people who see the Sato brothers and aren't as enthralled as one might hope for. I'm sure there are some people who see Black Menso Ray and are like, oh, like, um, there's certainly talent on the undercard that under normal circumstances would turn me off of following the product regularly. But the top of the card is sensational. So I think if you could um, fix that, the promotion would become both a lot more watchable, and you know maybe you could bring in a few more fans. I mean, yeah, I think All Japan. I think All Japan is a Noah checkbook away from really being able to do some good things.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. Okay, but yeah, we'll have a more All Japan talk a bit later in the show, so let's
Sure,
just
sure.
continue with the Noah for now. No, 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 no. I mean, I started it, but I think I need to bring it back on
Sure.
track now because before we kind of burn all of our powder on All Japan before we even get to the promotion. Yeah, so what started this whole rant from both of us was the fact that Katsuhiko Nakajima had his last Noah match, which was where Naomichi Marufuji and Takeshi Segura defeated the team of Axis, Go Shiozaki, and Katsuhiko Nakajima in 22 minutes when Segura pinned Nakajima after an Olympic Slam.
Mm.
I thought this was a really, really good
Mm.
match. I mean, you just need to look at like the four people in this match, right? Like that just already tells you its quality. I like kind of the story that they were telling in this match. It actually was almost a bit like Marufuji and
Mm.
Segura weren't really like important to this match, which is weird because they were the opponents. But I think the story of this match was much more like between Nakajima and Shiozaki, as well as Nakajima and Kitamiya, who also happened to be uh, kind of. No, wait, sorry, I'm confusing this with the last Korakuen match, but Kitamiya was on that one. No, but this one was still a really, really good match. I thought like all the interactions were pretty good, and yeah, Nakajima kind of does business the right way. He goes out of the promotion staring at the lights. Now he does it putting over kind of 52-year-old Takashi Segura.
Mm.
But still, I thought it was a good match overall. And yeah, what more can you ask for your last match in the promotion? Then the junior heavyweight tag title match. Dragon Bane and Alpha Wolf defeat Yohei and Tadasuke in 12 minutes and 39 seconds after a Twister Bane from Bane on Tadasuke for their first defense of the titles. Yeah, I mean, this is really like kind of if you've seen these two teams have matches before, this was exactly like those matches always are. They're kind of they're not smooth matches. Like I don't think these four are really like super polished workers, but it's just kind of it is very exciting as I talked about earlier, where like these guys will just kind of fly all over the ring and just do crazy stuff and just entertain you. Yes, I don't think I'm gonna rate it, but it is
Yeah,
entertaining.
I mean, that used to be. I guess we'll just double back again because I'm gonna derail things again. That used to be what the New Japan Junior Division was, right? When you had Hiromu and Dragon Lee, they were just throwing each other off of things and
Yeah,
taking these crazy bumps and working these 20-minute matches that were stiff and fast paced, and it's a lot of people talk about Hiromu now being this like great um, wrestler, and it's like I sort of, but like I personally haven't enjoyed his work as much since like 2017, and it's because he doesn't. These are the styles of matches when I think of Hiromu, um, this and junior division in general. This is what I'd really like to see.
mhm,
I do miss this style being in New Japan and even really Japan at large. So it's been a pleasant surprise with Dragon Bane. We're kind of bringing it back to the forefront. Maybe some other promotions will see that it works and take note.
mhm, yeah. Um, you have seen like a little bit of Rising Hayato, right?
Yeah, he's pretty good.
Yeah, he had a match with Hiromu this year, and it was just the absolute definition of there. And I'm not gonna put that on Rising Hayato. I'm gonna put that on Hiromu because he's just doing all of these kind of like matches outside of New Japan, and none of them are really all that good.
No, I mean Hiromu has like okay, I guess we'll get on a Hiromu tangent. Hiromu has some of the best junior dance partners in the world in New Japan, and there's not been a single match above 4 1/4 this year, except maybe the Mike Bailey match, which to me that's an indictment. If the best match you had this year was Mike Bailey and it was 4.5, I mean, I don't know. I've seen Mike Bailey have 4.5 star matches with practically anyone who'll get in the ring with them. Um,
I've seen Mike Bailey have 4.5-star matches in fucking GAA halls in Dublin.
yeah,
So
he's
yeah.
sensational. So if that's the best you're able to manage, I do think at a certain point, you know, I don't know. I haven't, like I said, I haven't enjoyed Hiromu as much in his current incarnation, and I'm sure it's weird coming from me because I don't think I'm typically associated with somebody who's into the spot fest per se. But
Mhm.
there used to be something really magical about the junior style of spot fest in that everything still looked pretty legitimate. Everything was fast paced. Everything connected. Like the strikes were pretty stiff. Like the Hiromu Dragon
Mhm.
Leash slap exchanges and things like that were very tight. And I don't know. It's fun seeing these younger guys work a style that I think is maybe not identical but comparable to that because unfortunately I just think it's something that's underrepresented outside of course Dragon Gate, which has kind of built their entire identity around
Mhm.
it. But man, yeah, it's weird seeing a company that has to me less pieces to do it than New Japan does, but is doing it much more effectively.
Yes. No, I think you're actually going would be someone that would really enjoy like Dragon Bane and Alpha Wolf in general. I can like send you some
Sure,
recommendations for them
absolutely.
later. Hmm. They actually had a really okay. Not to no, I'm going to derail it for a little bit. Uh, they actually had a match a few years ago with Shima and T-Hawk in Mexico, which went really off the rails because basically they were so stiff that they started to piss off Shima and then he started to shoot on them.
That sounds fucking great.
Yeah, I'm gonna send you that one for sure. Okay, then for the semi-main event for the GHC national title, Jack Morris defeats El Hijo de Dr. Wagner Jr. in 21 minutes and 11 seconds with an avalanche-style Tiger Driver, where Wagner fails on a seventh defense, and Jack Morris is your new JHC national champion. So, Jeff, your thoughts on Jack Morris?
Yeah, so for about the last 2 years, I thought Jack Morris was a gag. I thought it was a creator wrestler generated in 2K or something. Um, he's just very generic to me. There's nothing exciting about him. He's a good, not great worker. He's got a good, not great work, or a good, not great look. Um, he's every generic gaijin wrestler you've ever seen in your life. Like, just imagine when you boot up to create a wrestler in a video game, that first wrestler that looks at you, and then imagine you've edited on long hair, and that's Jack Morris.
Okay, Jeff, but what if I tell you that he's the 2009 winner of the Battle of West Lothian?
Uh, what? Okay,
Yeah,
so
that's a
so
real
he's got
tournament.
okay, so he's also got made up credentials. So I'm adding that to the he's fake bucket. Um, so I guess to me, I not that I am as high on Wagner Jr. as other people are. But I didn't see the point in derailing him, or taking the title away from him unless you intend to move him into the world title picture. It just feels like a waste to me, just frankly, because Wagner Jr.'s run had been so good to this point. But I don't know. I guess the good-looking guys needed a consolation prize after the main event. Spoilers. And I don't know. I wasn't super enthused with the match. I thought it was fine. I've never seen Jack Morris in a match that was better than 3 3/4. This didn't break that trend for me. Um, I, Maybe I'm being unfair to him, but he's pretty uninspiring, unfortunately.
No, I'm going to disagree with two
Mm,
things here. Like A, I think Jack Morris is really good.
mm,
Like I think Jack Morris, he's still kind of like the way he like to me is one of the people that picked up wrestling in Japan the fastest out of anyone I've ever
mm.
seen. Because for like a lot of gaijin that come into Japan, like it can actually take them a little bit to actually get adjusted to Japan, right? Like the first tour can be like a bit rough. Like I think Wagner is actually a perfect example of that, because Wagner has been around in Noah for like a while now, and I think for the longest while Wagner was just the like definition of a guy that is just there. And then basically after he won this title, like that's when he really put everything together and he became really really good. Where I would go so far as to say that he I think is one of the best kind of foreigners in Japan at the moment.
So,
And he's also super over with the crowd as
okay,
well.
let me ask you this. Do you think he, when I think of Gaija coming into Japan, there is a level of work that is required on the upper end. Now, if the argument is Jack Morris is mid card, upper mid card at best, and so
Hmm.
he has worked to that level, I could make that concession. Do you think he can? Do you think he has had a match that's over 4 1/4, for example,
Four
or
and a
even
quarter.
at four and a
I
quarter?
would, I would, um, I think there are matches where you can make an argument for that. I think they had like actually these two had a match in April that I thought was really really good. That I think you should check out for that. I think actually probably the best one is actually his very first match in
Mm-hmm.
Japan with Kaito Kiyomiya in the N1 last year. That I think can touch that. He had another match with Kaito in February that I thought was really, really good. I don't think there's really like the consistently like great matches he's had
So,
yet,
so let me
but I don't think he's also been put into that position consistently yet. But I think the potential for him is there to get
so let
to
me
that level.
like
Because I think he has all of the tools to do it.
let me make a comp, and I'll preface this with the person I'm going to comp has a ton more experience than him, so it's not entirely fair.
Mm-hmm.
To me, he strikes me as having the same problem as Finley. Finley can give you a perfectly reasonable match. He's technically proficient.
He has a better look than
Uh,
Finley.
well, yeah, so do I. Certainly now. When Finley originally got he was actually cleaning up pretty nicely. Now it's, whew. Um, but Finley um, can give you a perfectly reasonable match. I think his top stuff peaks at around 4 1/4, unless you put him in the ring with Will Ospreay, in which case you'll get a miracle. But you could put Will Ospreay in the ring with anyone and get a miracle. Um, I but he doesn't quite hit the peaks that I think are necessary to really make a Gaijin top guy. Um, and so I think he's kind of stuck as a mid carder to upper mid carder. I just don't. I think that's his ceiling. Um,
Mhm.
and so eventually, that kind like if you get stuck at that level as a Gaijin in Japan, I think you get a little long in the tooth, which is what I think has already happened with Finley. And it's kind of what I feel with Jack Morris. Um, do you disagree with that comp? Do you think he's just substantially better? What's
I can see the comparison. What I will say though is kind of right now, right? It's the time for him now to show that that isn't his ceiling,
mm,
because he is a double champion now, right? That is a massive show of faith by the promotion, because he is the tag champ, and he is also now kind of the guy that holds the second most important singles title in that promotion, the national title. Like if you look at the history of the title, like that's not a like nothing title really. Like like obviously like the heavyweight title is the main title, but if you actually look at through like the history of the national title, right? Like Segura is the original champion, then Nakajima, Keno, Fujita, Segura again, Masaki Mochizuki, Keno again, Masakatsu Funaki, and then it got put on like Wagner held that belt for a year, and it really elevated him to like a level where he I think like as you said, right? Like because I don't think, for example, that like Wagner losing this title derails him at
mm.
all. Like I think they are actually going to put him into like main events now. I think that's why they had him lose it.
Okay.
Because again, he held it for a year. He held it for a year. He defeated like everyone, and I think they're gonna like push like this really elevated him to a guy that I think you can put on like top of shows now.
I'd be very interested in like
So
a Keno Wagner Jr. feud.
yeah, yeah, I think that's gonna. I think that would be tremendous. I think that might be where they're going. after the New Year show because, like, spoiler alert, I don't think Soya's winning. I think that's very
Really?
unlikely.
Wow.
Uh, yeah, yeah, I know, shocker, I know, very controversial statement.
Can't believe it.
But again, so like this is Jack Morris's time now. Like he is a double champion. So right now, like this is his time to show that he can get to that next level, that he can elevate himself just like Wagner did in that same position. And I think I like I said, I'm not willing to make that call. I can see where you're coming from with the Finlay comp, but I think right now for him is time to show that it's a wrong comp, and I think we can come back. I think it's 6 months, and I think then we can make a definitive statement whether or not it is an accurate comparison or not.
That's fair.
Okay. And then, but yeah, overall, just for quick, my thoughts on the match. Yeah, I mean, having said all of that, I also thought that this match wasn't super inspiring either. I think it was actually one of Wagner's weaker title matches. But like I said, we'll see what Jack does going from here. And I did actually think that the tag title match he had on the next show was a lot better than this one too. But yeah. But yeah, let's quickly then go to the main event for the GHC heavyweight title. Keno defeats Jake Lee in 29 minutes and 47 seconds with the Keno special, which means that Jake fails on his fifth defense and Keno is the new GHC heavyweight title. Jeff, the evil, not that one, is defeated. Finally, it's over. The Jake reign, we are freed.
Well, when you have the opportunity to put your world title on a perennial disappointment from a smaller company, I think you always have to do it every single time. New Japan with Sonata, Noah with Jake Lee. If you get the opportunity to intentionally sabotage your own company by inflicting on yourself what smaller companies have inflicted on themselves, I think every single time you have to take that chance. I'm just happy Noah did it, and now seeing how.
Actually, I'd say Jake Lee is Sanada is worse because New Japan is the first promotion that ever put that top belt on Sanada. Like Wrestle One didn't do that, Impact didn't do that. Like New Japan is the first promotion that was like, oh yeah, Sanada, that's who we got to put a
Well,
world
yeah,
title
but
on.
Sonata is at least going to get the salvage because he's going to work a Tokyo Dome main event that draws 35,000 people.
Yeah, that certainly is on him for sure.
Uh,
I actually considered buying lesser tickets because he's in the main event, and then I was like, no, actually, I gotta sit in the arena itself.
I think. I mean, okay, so this is going to become a New Japan podcast. I think Sonata. The draw with him is the story. It's not Sonata. I do think Sonata is a part of the main
Yes.
event selling, but not because Sonata the name is drawing. I think Sonata the matchup with Naito is drawing. Lij is drawing the main, and Sonata is a part of that, but he was placed in that. You know what I mean? So I don't
Yeah.
think it's fair to not give him any of the credit. Like I think just blankly putting it on Naito, unless we're going to follow that up with saying Naito is one of the greatest draws in Puro history, which I'll listen to. I'm a Naito stan.
I mean, kind of
I
is,
think
yeah.
so, yeah. But some people don't like that. So I think you have to give Sonata some of the credit. I think on the basis of that alone, and the weakness of the matchups he's been given to draw with. Because if you look at his drawing record prior to this, this title reign, his title challenges against Okada, when New Japan was hot, drew really well. His G1 match with Okada drew really well. The Hiromu title match, if I remember correctly, sold out for what was allocated, which kind of lends itself to the Lij theme. Draws pretty well, unless it's Evil, in which case, I think Evil is that's it. Yeah. Evil has come close to making me lose my enthusiasm for wrestling this year on multiple occasions. So yeah, I don't think Sonata is as bad as Jake Lee. I think Jake Lee. but it's
But they're both
they're
transitional
both
champions,
transitional champions.
which has been my argument for a while now, where like these are like two of the longest transitional like title reigns I've ever
They
seen.
are well, but the thing with Sonata is there very clearly was an endpoint. I mean, at the end of the day,
Yes.
I think the Sonata title reign has the potential to come out to be a net positive. I think you've established a potential main eventer, somebody who in the past has drawn as a challenger, even if he hasn't drawn as a champion. You've established, so you've established a top of the card guy that these young guys like Suji and Umino can eventually defeat and will have some pedigree. And you've set up a very easy title match for Naito to get his last hurrah with, without actually having to beat anyone, of note in the Wrestle Kingdom main event. To me, I actually think that was a pretty good piece of booking, even if it wasn't the best. Even if it wasn't the best viewing experience. Jake Lee, I think, has been a detriment to the viewing experience. I don't think he's been a particularly strong draw, and he doesn't have any of those built-in
No.
stories to go to. So once he loses the title, he's just kind of stuck. There's nothing you can really do with him. There's nothing you really get back out of him, as far as I'm concerned. He's just a disappointment through and through.
Have you seen the new look that he has adopted since he lost the title?
Unfortunately.
Yeah, which is something
I'm
that
looking
he
forward to
just
his.
decided to become like
I'm looking forward to his DDT.
his essay on like women or like women's rights or something. I don't know.
I look forward to his run in DDT as a fucking clown. But
I mean, oh God, yes, please. No, he should do what. So like a few years ago in All Japan's Real World Tag League, you had the team of Tajiri and Kai, and they had a match with the Violent Giants, Suwama and Shuji Ishikawa, on the final night, and they literally came out in clown makeup. And like literally, I don't think Kai ever tagged in. Literally, the entire match was just Suwama beating the shit out of Tajiri in like 2 minutes and pinning him. One of the best things I've ever seen.
yeah, that's sensational. I mean, maybe we had it all wrong. I know the rumor has been that Kaito wants to go to WWE, but maybe Jake Lee is actually trying to be the next Undertaker.
Oh God! Oh yeah, we can only hope. Like Jake, please, I implore you, go to WWE.
He's gonna be. Listen, if Jake Lee heads up NXT Japan, all Pyro fans can rest safe. We'll be totally fine.
Yeah, that
I'm
would be
like,
a full-on failure.
Thank God.
I won't even sell out Shinkiba.
Oh, thank God. Yeah.
It's like Jake Lee and Daichi Hashimoto feuding for the title.
Oh man, that'd be beautiful. And then they bring in Shinsuke
Yeah.
Nakamura, another perpetual disappointment. Um,
But yeah, thoughts on the match itself as well.
I don't know. It's Jake Lee. He's fine. I'm happy to see Keno. I do think Keno has lost a step this year. Maybe I'm just not seeing the right Keno matches, but I've been a smid.
Yeah, because I think he's been tremendous this year, to be honest. I think this is one of his best years.
So I've watched him, I think 3 or 4 times, and I just haven't come away with the. Listen, going into the year, I thought Keno was one of the top 15 wrestlers in the world. I have a really high opinion of Keno. He works a style I love. He's very stiff. His work is very tight. He does that. I don't know. He really just fits the archetype of a Jeff wrestler. But I thought the Naito match was really disappointing. I thought this match was kind of mid. He did have a good.
Yes.
His N1 stuff was pretty good though, so I guess there is that. But
he had also a lot of like I think the weird thing he actually really excelled at this year is 6-man tag matches.
Yeah, and I didn't watch that.
I know that sounds weird, but for example, did you watch the like All Together one?
Yeah, he was good in that.
Yeah, so like I think like that was something he really excelled at. I think he was really good at like the 6-man tag at the Muto show as well, the Congo versus All Japan one. I think his tag title run in All Japan was
Which
really,
I didn't
really good.
watch.
I think what he has been kind of lacking on is actually kind of really great singles matches. I think he's been a bit down on this year, but I think he's been really good in like
But that's strange because
tag and like
he's
six man
had
tag
the
matches.
opportunities. Um,
Yes.
and so that's I do think is killing the
Although I will
perception.
say, like for example, like the N1 finals
Mm.
match, for example, delivered as well.
Yeah, the N1 final. And I do think the Naito match is painting a lot of my perception there. I was so excited for that match, and I left really disappointed. Um,
I mean, to be fair, that entire show was weird. Where like weirdly, the match that delivered the most was Manabu Soya versus
that's
Sanada, and
yeah,
no one could have predicted that. No one could have predicted at the time that actually both men were in for like a big push. Just like literally the entire story of both men for the rest of the year was built around that match. In hindsight,
yeah. That's really crazy now that I think about it. And I mean, not even in fairness, even Nakajima Shingo underdelivered relative to expectations. Now that was still a four
yeah,
and a quarter.
it was a good
It
match,
was still
but
like I still went four and a
I
quarter.
mean, it's Shingo versus Nakajima, right?
I would have
Yeah.
expected the four to be four and a half. So it was
Hmm.
a little disappointing from that perspective, but you know, um, yeah. So I do think my perception of Keno is a little colored in that sense, but I think
I mean, I will agree with you where this match didn't help because I would say this was actually again one of like Jake's weaker defenses.
yeah,
Like I think for as much as like Jake's run has been a really kind of a miserable failure in terms of
mm.
business, I will say that like the matches themselves have actually generally been good.
Well, they've been functionally
Like his
fine. Like there's nothing
yeah,
with Jake Lee that has ever made me believe he's a bad wrestler. I just don't think he's inspiring,
like
and
I
I
will
don't think
say
he.
the weakest matches were his title win and his title loss.
Yeah, um, but like going back to All Japan, he has like 4 and 3/4 star matches with Kento, and I mean really just Kento,
Yeah.
but I mean he has some great matches under to his name. So I never think he's an actually bad worker, but he cannot be the best worker in a match and make it good. Um, and
No.
so at the end of the day, I feel like Jake Lee match quality is typically correlated to the person he's in the ring with, and I just don't think Keno brought anything out of him. Um, it could be a chemistry issue.
Because I will yeah. Because what I would say actually, like about this run now that it is
Mm,
over, is that I think in terms of match quality, it was better than his Triple Crown run.
I
Like I'm
agree
not
with that.
counting his second Triple Crown run because that was literally he lost it on the like first defense. But I think this title run in terms of match quality was better than his like first Triple
No,
Crown
I
run.
agree with that.
It was a business failure, but I think match quality generally like was pretty good. Like I think for me the best title defense was like the Segura match
Right,
in
right. I mean,
Nagoya.
I think he's a much better
But
wrestler
I
now.
think I think what those put a bit of a stinker on it, obviously, that like the book ending match as well. Like I thought the match against Kaito was the worst one out of all of them. I think that one was just straight up boring.
That sucked.
And then this match also was like just a bit of a nothing match too.
Yeah, it's strange. I think the two people I would have said are the best wrestlers he's wrestled during this run, he had the worst matches with.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a very good way to sum it up. Okay. So I think we're like about an hour in, we're through the first show, so
Well, good news. I don't have a
I think
goddamn
Rich is
thing to
gonna
say
yell
about
at
the All Japan house shows. So run on through.
Great. I think Rich might yell at me when he gets this file. um, so just some notes. After the main event, Manabu Soya came out and he challenged Keno for a match at the 2nd of January in Ariake Arena. So we're not gonna get any JHC heavyweight title matches between now and then, which I think, I mean, December generally is a quiet moment, but I mean, most promotions fill that with the tag league, but Noah doesn't. So I'm just really curious what Noah is kind of gonna like fill the like next like 2 months with essentially,
Mhm.
because they don't like they basically have like 2 months to build this match as big as they can.
Yeah.
But like they still have to sell some tickets, and I'm curious what they're
Uh,
gonna
I
do
was
from
gonna
that.
say I don't know what they're gonna fill the show with, but I can tell you it won't be fans. Um,
Yes, well, that's the general issue.
yeah. Um, yeah. I don't know. I don't really know what they can fill it with. I mean, you could do some. filler defenses, I guess, if you wanted to just kind of prop Keno up. But
But you can't be like they already announced the match Keno versus Soya for 1-2.
yeah,
So you can't even run like a Keno title defense because you're already advertising the match and you're already selling tickets based off of
see,
that match. You
this is
can't
why I
change it
wouldn't
now.
have taken the belt off of Wagner, because I think Wagner would draw a little bit better than more. Not like it's yeah, I mean yeah.
Morris,
I
yeah,
think you could have headlined a show with Wagner Jr. versus like Segura or whoever, and it would have done a lot
yeah,
better
that's
than I
true.
think Jack Morris versus any of the people he can run against. I mean, you could have here would have
On the
been
other
an
hand,
easy transition
like I
feud. You
said,
could have
right?
done Jake Lee versus Wagner Jr.
Actually, yeah, that would have been something. But like as I said, right? Like this is like put up or shut up time for Jack
Mm-hmm.
Morris. So like clearly, like his next title defense, unless it also comes on 1-2, like it's expected to draw against whoever they're gonna put him there.
I don't
So
necessarily think that's fair to
you
him
know,
though, because I don't think it's just it's too much too soon. I think. Um, I
fair because he has really only been around for a bit more than a
he's
year
only been
now in
around for a
Japan.
bit more than a year. He didn't have the slow trek up the card. The national title isn't actually really that established. I mean, it's not a prestige title in the way like the Triple Crown is or the GHC is or like the old IWGP Intercontinental might have been. It's a nice title. I think Wagner Jr. has added a lot to it, but um, do I think it's like a title that having it now ensures that Morris has moved up the card? I don't think that's the case. Um, so I don't think it's a position I don't think he's been put in a position to succeed with this at all, if that's what they're hoping for. And I think if they were looking to draw on the intermediate times of secondary titles, they should have relied on the juniors and Wagner Jr.
I mean that really is a thing, right? Like if Keno is not gonna be in a title match for 2 months, then if we like look at like the current champions in Noah, which of these would you think would be like a draw, right? And I'm gonna spoil it here as well. Like Daga beat Hayata for the junior title. So like your current champions are junior heavyweight singles is Daga, junior heavyweight tag titles are Alpha Wolf and Dragon Bane, national champion is Jack Morris, heavyweight tag champions are Jack Morris and Anthony Green, and then your hardcore open weight champion is Masato Tanaka. Like and I think the hardcore thing is very much a like
It's a
Monday
gimmick.
Night Magic only deal. Like I don't think that like they haven't really talked about it at all on like regular
Yeah.
shows. So really, it's like 4 titles. They're all on like relatively unestablished foreigners. So if you're doing a title match, like which of these is gonna draw over the next 2 months until Keno has his first title defense?
Yeah, the answer to that is I don't think there is one really. I think you're gonna have to get really creative with how you decorate the undercards to draw people in, because I don't think on main event programs you're gonna be able to draw.
Yeah. I mean, they have something for like the Yokohama Budokan, but we'll get to that a
Mm-hmm.
little bit later. Um, but one thing real quick for the 1-2 show, one thing I can say is that Soya versus Keno has already sold 2 tickets at the very least because I bought my tickets immediately after the show, and it actually influenced the fact that Keno won actually influenced where I bought my tickets because I ended up buying like tickets on the floor. Um, Whereas if Jake had been champion, I probably would have like bought like tickets on like the first or second floor instead.
Yeah.
Whereas now I'm on the ground floor because I'm like, yeah, I want to see a Keno match live, like while I kind of be like immersing myself in the whole atmosphere.
Yeah, no, that's
So
really fun.
I can tell you at least in that regard, Keno has been a bit more of a draw.
Yeah, he's a draw in my household, brother.
Fair enough. Okay, and now we move on to the second show. Noah Demolition Stage 2023 in Niigata on the 4th of November from the Niigata City Gymnasium in front of 1,024 fans. I would say that's a solid number. I kind of looked for like the general Niigata numbers, but like no one really like runs Niigata
Mm.
in any kind of like meaningful way. So that makes those numbers like really hard to compare. So I would say generally this is a solid number, especially given that like you main evented it with like Daga versus Hayata. So yeah. Okay, so we're gonna fly through the undercard here, just to kind of tell you guys what the results have been. So Eita defeats Iowata 4 minutes 56 seconds with a foot stomp. Saxon Huxley and Shui Hanaguchi of Real defeat Stallion Rogers and Taishi Ozawa in 5 minutes and 55, when Huxley pinned Ozawa after a neck hanging bomb. Ninja Mac, Alejandro, Extreme Tiger, and Teriyaki defeat Atsushi Kotoge, High 69, Hajime Ohara, and Kai Fujimura in 11 minutes 31 after a ninja bomb from Mac on Fujimura. El Hijo de Dr. Wagner Jr. defeats LG Cleary in 9 minutes and 2 seconds with a Wagner driver. I guess that is kind of like to get his heat back after he lost the title. Yoshinari Ogawa and Super Crazy, which that's definitely a guy we needed back, defeated Shuji Kondo and Junta Miyawaki in 12 minutes and 21 seconds after a camel clutch from Crazy on Junta Miyawaki. So Miyawaki loses it again, but I think there's at least a little bit of a hope here because kind of afterwards they were kind of very heavily hinting at like Shuji Kondo and Junta Miyawaki kind of forming like a permanent team, and Kondo kind of talking about him wanting to like mentor like Junta Miyawaki a bit as well. And I mean, there's definitely worse people to like mentor you than Shuji Kondo. And then Masaki Tamiya, Manabu Soya, and Daiki Inaba defeat Naomichi Marufuji, Takashi Segura, and Go Shiozaki in 12 minutes and 21 seconds after a jumping DDT from Soya on Shiozaki. So actually one of the people I'm kind of curious on what they're gonna do now that Nakajima's gone is actually Go Shiozaki. Because I feel like Noah kind of knows that like Shiozaki is a bit like he's not completely washed, but like his body is like really starting to break down. So I think what they were hoping for is to kind of like put him in the Axis tag team with Nakajima to like allow him to preserve his body. So I really don't know what their plans for him are going forward. Because yeah, like if they're gonna form a new tag team or if he's just gonna be in these kind of 6-man tags now.
I mean, I think you could get a lot out of him if you just paired him with a young guy. Unfortunately, this is Noah, so sparse
Yes.
supply.
Was it like the few young guys that they have are like still like young boys or juniors? So like I don't think that's
I
gonna
mean,
work for
okay.
Go.
Could you do Kaito and go? Like, could you just have it?
You could, but he's teaming with Oiva, and I actually really like that
Well, I'm saying
tag
once
team
Oe was
Go.
gone, like maybe you do
Yes.
Go is on the recovery track, and you give Go a few singles matches that are good, but preserve and maybe the end result of this is hey, I carried this promotion for for X amount of time. I had this big run during COVID. My
Hmm.
body broke down. I would like to pass the torch, and you just have this team where Kaito teams with the Kaito, the new Ace of Noah, teams with the former Ace of Noah. The problem is, with all the rumors that Kaito wants out, you know, um,
Yeah, exactly.
if Kaito leaves, I have no clue what Noah does as a promotion. That would be so bad for them.
Hope that Taishi Ozawa works out. Really, is it what it is at that point?
Yeah, but I mean, what about in the short term? Because even if Ozawa works out, I don't think he's like a guy who's only a year away.
Oh yeah, no, it's not. I don't know. Write Kento Miyahara a really big check.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the only answer, frankly. But I
Yeah.
would imagine whatever check they could write Kento isn't going to be bigger than the one that New Japan could write him. So I don't think the check size is the question.
Yeah. I don't know. Like that's the problem for Noah right now, right? They're like screwed in the medium term
Yeah, they really are.
because like long term maybe there's something there, but like medium term there's not really any way they can get out of the situation that they're in right
Yeah,
now. And it is their own fault, but
I
it is
I
what it is
thought they
basically.
would be utilizing the partnership of DDT more.
Yes, that is still the most baffling thing of everything that it's literally the two promotions that seem to be allowed to like collaborate the least are the two that are owned by literally the same company.
Like to me, I thought, oh, perfect. You're gonna have, um, like guys like Endo. I get maybe they wouldn't want. I mean, you could have Endo work junior or heavy, and I think he would be a big boon to either division. I don't think they have the junior heavyweights lined up for him right now, so I would have him just work heavy. But I mean, you could freshen up the card a lot with something like Kaito versus Endo. I think would be really compelling. Um, you know,
Yeah,
Takeshita is kind of out of the picture now because he's so heavily involved in AEW. But before that, you could have done Takeshita Kiyomiya. You could have done Takeshita versus Keno. I mean, even if those matches,
I mean Higuchi fits
Higuchi fits like
perfectly
a
style-wise,
glove. Imagine Higuchi versus Segura.
No, that would be amazing.
Yeah.
Like Higuchi versus
Oh my
Keno.
God. Yeah, those matches would rock. And you could get
Yeah,
some of those younger DDT guys like Mao or uh, Ueno on the undercard for in the junior matches with guys like Dragon Bane and Alpha Wolf, and that would rule.
yeah. And if you're DDT, you don't have to be worried that they get poached because you're owned by the same company, and that company is run by your founder.
Yeah, and
So, you
yeah,
know,
there's no concern about that. And also, I mean, DDT isn't really a company that has to function on a win or loss premise. So
yeah,
I I don't get why that hasn't been utilized. Because it's not like DDT is doing gangbusters business these days. Um, Nor is Noah, but certainly DDT isn't. I think DDT has fallen off the hardest of any of
yeah.
the major Japanese promotions.
Well, they really like got hurt by the fact that everyone like ran Tokyo into the ground during the
Yeah,
pandemic because they never drew well outside of
yeah,
Tokyo. So once everyone kind of like burned Tokyo out, that hurt them the most.
yeah,
Because if you look at like for example like numbers by All Japan, they really started to recover once they started touring outside of Tokyo again and didn't have to run Tokyo like a million times
yeah. No,
per month
no, that's
basically.
fair. I just, yeah, that'll never not feel like a missed opportunity to me.
Yeah, no, 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 I think everyone can agree on that. And I like my kind of low-key conspiracy theory is that it's Akiyama that's blocking it.
Ooh,
That there's still some like heat there, both from like generally like I don't know, like Akiyama having some like bad feelings from like whenever he like left Noah, and also
I
Nakajima
was about to
knocking
say,
out
do you think
Endo.
Nakajima shoot KOing their champion?
I think because again we didn't get a Cyber Fight festival this year.
Yeah, yeah. Mm. Nah, yeah, that might have been a Nakajima thing actually. Now that I'm thinking about it,
Yeah.
damn, that's
Yeah,
funny.
I mean, we'll see. Maybe. But again, you know who collaborates loads with DDT now? All Japan.
If there's a cyber fight,
Like they literally have a
if there's a
feud going.
cyber fight festival next year, you'll know who's responsible.
I mean, that was an actual thought experiment me and Gerard did like a while ago. Like, if, Ibima, or what if, Cyber Agent had bought All Japan instead of Noah?
Um, you know that meme where like the world if, and then it's like flying cars,
Yeah,
and that's
basically.
basically if Cyberfight had been All Japan instead of Noah. Because I think if Cyberfight doesn't invest in
Yeah.
Noah, Noah dies. Um,
Yes,
and
which is bad
is it?
still, for all its faults.
I don't think it's that bad. I think it just. I think it.
I don't know. It's still a really good roster, though.
Yeah, a really good roster that could be used to prop up All Japan once it had better funding. I would rather have
True.
two really strong promotions than one really strong promotion and two floundering. That's me. Um, I could
Hmm.
be, and because obviously there's more promotions than that anyway. I mean, you still have Dragon Gate, you still have for Better Force DDT. I'm sure some GLEAT adjacent promotion would pop up eventually to suck up anyone who didn't want to go to All Japan or New Japan. But I think all that would happen is you would bolster both rosters, which I think both could frankly use. And the people who aren't good enough to go to either roster just wouldn't get taken, and that's probably for the best. Um, so yeah, I mean, apologies to Anthony Green, but I don't know. Like my
No, I think he would still stick around, but like your Stallion Rogers or whatever, or Saxon
yeah,
Huxley,
Saxon
like they can
Huxley
go
is
for
going.
sure.
Yeah, is getting sent back to whatever Fed adjacent place he was, and um, yeah, I mean I don't know.
He can work Progress or whatever the fuck.
Yeah. He can run. Yeah, I don't know. So I I kind of am rooting for Noah's downfall. I think a lot of those guys going to All Japan. I think what you're seeing with Nakajima.
But All Japan doesn't have the budget. So okay, do you want a spicy take that will like actually generate the most heat of coming out of this
Okay.
episode? I think Cyberfight should just shut down DDT, merge all of the good wrestlers into Noah, and I don't know, the comedy groups can like go and work Shankiba or whatever
No,
the
that's
fuck.
a great take.
I
I
don't
love
care.
that take. I think we need.
Oh yeah, no, it's a great take. I agree. It's my take, but that's not gonna go over well with a lot of people.
Well, no, here's the. I mean, here's my thing. Ultimately, I just want more good promotions. And I think when you have as many promotions as you have in Japan right now, great. There's more places for people to work. That's wonderful. But is there that much of a difference between having 8 places to work and having 9? If you can have 8 better places to work instead of 9, like, um, to me,
I can see that argument.
to me, having 2 solid promotions that can draw is worth more than having one promotion that can draw and 3 that can't. So I think consolidating the DDT and Noah rosters would really help. It creates fresh matchups, and I think what you see with Nakajima's jump, you can take it as one of 2 things. And I say this is a Nakajima stand. Either Nakajima has randomly overnight become a draw, even though he has never been a draw in his life. I don't personally believe that. Or fans are starved for jumps and want to see fresh matchups, and none of the lower tier Puro promotions have had those to offer them.
Fair enough, yeah. I mean, low-key, one of the reasons why I think like All Japan is booking, like obviously they have kind of a relationship with GLEAT, but I think low-key one of the reasons why they're also giving a lot of shine to GLEAT guys is to get their claws into them for when GLEAT inevitably goes under, so that they can like just have them come over.
Sure, I mean,
Because they're already like, hey, T-Hawk, we've given you a lot. Went to a Champion Carnival final, and then you had then we gave you the Triple Crown match with Nagata after Ishino got hurt. That's a shame that Gleed went under. How about you just come in and you already have like established relationships with
well,
people?
I don't know if this is the place for it, but I had it kind of mentioned on the All Japan bit that we were going to touch on later. I think T-Hawk needs to get away from Strong Hearts.
Yes.
He's so much better than them now. He's so much better than Shima.
Yeah.
He's so much better. I know Case is listening to this from afar and is going to strangle me. But T-Hawk is better than Shima. He's better than Lindemann. Lindemann, I'm over.
Yeah.
He's peaked. I don't think he has been stagnant for so long, and he's way too willing to just be the 6th wheel in a 6-man tag. T-Hawk is a legitimately great worker at this stage. He has unique offense. He has a presence. He moves differently. I mean, he's really, really. I think T-Hawk is actually like special of the 3. And I would like to.
And he works much better outside of GLEAT than he is in his actual main promo. Like he's so much better.
He's phenomenal. The Kento team with him is
funny.
amazing. I really like those 2 together. And you can see Kento trying to get him over. I think T-Hawk needs to get away from them. I don't know. I mean, lose their number. Just never talk to Shima again.
I really think that Kento is like grooming T-Hawk, and in the American way, not the British way.
No, is he? You don't think Kento's a Discord mod? All right.
No, I don't think so. No, but I think he's kind of like basically like getting cut, basically slowly massaging T-Hawk into like, man, sure it's a lot of fun to wrestle in All Japan, isn't it? How about you just once your contract runs
I'm
out
confused.
here,
Which one has?
just come over here.
Yeah,
you
which
know?
one has the more pesty connotation because we're talking about massaging already. I don't know that.
Oh no, damn it! I didn't realize that. Um, no, but he's a better draw in All Japan
Yeah,
than he is in
absolutely
Elite as
is.
well, which makes the whole thing even weirder.
How,
Like there's just literally no reason for him to stay there. It's actually beneficial for both if he just
however,
leaves.
have you considered that he could potentially win the T-Rex title?
He is the G-Rex
No,
champion.
T-Rex. It's the next title. Stay tuned.
Oh, yeah, maybe. If they want to upgrade from the
Yeah,
G-Rex
yeah,
to the
yeah.
T-Rex,
Yeah,
that's
why?
true. But then he needs to shorten his arms a little bit.
Yeah, well, you could, what you do is you shorten the straps on the belt. It just
Or shorten the
yeah,
tights
yeah,
a little
yeah.
bit more.
Just can't fit around his waist.
I mean, that's probably. I mean, if they had just like, right, because El Lindaman was the first
Yeah.
champion, if they had just like fit it in on like El Lindaman size, and then they put it on T-Hawk, and they're like, ah, shit, we don't have enough straps to actually fit it on this guy.
That would have fucking rocked. Why
That would
can't
have rocked
DDT
too
do
much,
things
but
like that that are
well.
actually funny?
That would have been really funny. Actually, yeah, I'm surprised DDT has never done stuff like that, where it's like, oh man, our first champion was really small, so now we can't fit the title on Yuji Hiro. Oh no. But yeah, oh well. To get it back on, get it back to Noah.
Ugh.
Well, we're almost done with the Noah section. Um, so for the last undercard match, Keno, Dragonbane, Alpha Wolf defeat Jake Lee, Yohei, and Tadasuke in 11 minutes and 40 seconds when Keno used the Keno special on Yohei. Yeah, and this is also where we infamously got Jake Lee's first, or the first look at Jake Lee's new kind of attire, because he's kind of dumped the kind of Darth Vader gimp gear for, I don't know what I can best describe, a cross between The Undertaker and a 2010s Reddit mod. I think is the best way to say it.
I'd rather
But
you say it
yeah.
than me. Yeah, I don't know. I've never seen somebody manifest less charisma than Jake Lee. And it's with every decision. It's almost intentional. It's nothing intrinsic. But it's like, what could I possibly do to sabotage any semblance of star power or charisma? And whatever you find on
Yes.
that list, Jake Lee is taking notes. It's insane.
Like I had finally gotten used to like the Darth Vader gimp suit after all this time, but yeah, I don't. It'll take me a while to get used to this look.
Yeah, the Darth Vader gimp suit. At least I had worn it once or twice. So, um, yeah,
Fair enough.
so at least I had some familiar. It was an awful fit. I don't know how he somehow went from a gimp suit to looking worse, but Jake Lee is always capable of finding the floor and then digging deeper. So
Yeah, I think I've kind of decided that I need to make another like Jake Lee compilation from the podcast for this year as well. I just need to pick the right song for that, because obviously last year it was all about him leaving the promotion, and then this motherfucker pops up on
you thought you
nowhere
were free. You
right
thought
away.
you got away.
Literally, someone on the Discord posted a picture of like Mo throwing Barney out of the bar and Barney disappearing right behind him, and just wrote like Paul and Gerard and like Jake Lee over Barney's face. I'm like, fuck you, but you're right.
It's phenomenal.
Okay, then for the last two matches for the GHC Tag Team title, we have Jack Morris and Anthony Green of the Good Looking Guys defeating Kaito Kiyomiya and Ryohei Oiwa in 22 minutes and 2 seconds when Green pinned Oiwa after the M83 for their first defense. I thought this was really, really good. I talked about it before. I really like this Kaito Kiyomiya and Oiwa team. I think Morris and Green are a really, really good team. I actually was kind of expecting them to win here a little bit. But I think Morris and Green, like I said, this is like put up a shut up time for Jack Morris. So it really seems like Noah's gonna go for him with him for a while as a double champion. I'm curious where like this Kaito and Oiwa team is going now because I thought like them winning the titles and like holding them for a while was where they were going
Mm.
with that, but I hope they stay together.
Yeah, I would like to think um, that the reason Oiwa and Kaito didn't win the titles is because Kaito forgot to make the phone call. Um, um, like I'd like to think he intended to call them stroking his beard and say, yeah, he has to win that match. And if you could have him triple stack pin everybody, actually pin Kaito too. Uh,
And
yeah,
Kaito too.
um, yeah, I'm surprised that call didn't get made, but Gato probably had bigger things to worry about. Yeah, the match was pretty good. I thought of the trio, it was the best of the bunch. I went four flat. Oiwa looks great. It's a little bit. I really like Kaito. I don't mean to shit on him, but I think Oiwa already has better presence than Kaito. And I don't think that's a good thing. Kaito is a much better
No,
worker.
I would disagree with it for now, but I see where you're coming from. I don't think he's
I
far
think
off.
Kaito is a better worker, but I think Oiwa.
Kaito needs better gear, that's for sure.
Yeah, but when I look at Oiwa, if you told me one of them was a like I don't know that I would necessarily say Oiwa is the bigger star now, but given context, I feel like
He will
yeah.
be.
I don't think I think the pairing with Oiwa, um, ironically, isn't doing Kaito any favors, but I think it's doing
No.
Oiwa a lot of favors. I don't know why Noah has agreed to this. I can't imagine saying, okay, we're going to take this young because Oiwa, I can tell you from the New Japan perspective, there were young lions that were hyped when they left, or like when they were heading into their excursions, right? Like Umino was a big prospect, which is why I didn't give up on him. I simply, I guess, I didn't see that he's not a wrestler looking at his eyes or whatever the fuck. And Suji, I saw it with him. People were excited for him to come back. Um, I would say Oiwa was one of the more iffy ones when he left. I didn't get the same excitement when he left. People didn't see him as this big time prospect. And he's been in Noah for 10 minutes and we're having this discussion. Um, that's, to me, a very negative sign for Noah. Great news for New Japan, but probably not good for Noah, and by extension, probably not good for Kiyomiya.
Yeah, no, I fully agree. It's just been a really baffling decision for me by Noah to just have this young lion come in and just kind of run roughshod over your promotion to some degree. Like, obviously not completely. Like, obviously he was the guy that took the pin here. Like, it would have been outrageous if
That
Kaito
would
had
have
been the
been
one that
so
took the pin here.
funny.
Yeah, it really would have been.
Oh my god, comedy gold.
But at the very least, Noah has at least a minimum of self-respect and had Oiwa take the pin here.
Right.
But yeah, I really also do not get what Noah is getting out of this by yeah, like it just really just exposes them. Because at least like All Japan when they brought in some of like, and I think one of them was Oiwa when they brought in like the New Japan Young Lions, like they at the very least were like still portraying them as young lions and not like guys that get title shots.
Right. Yeah, that's crazy to
So
me.
yeah. Yeah, but again, they were also brought in as young lions, whereas this is very like they very clearly were like, well, he's not a young lion anymore. And this is his excursion. It's just bizarre. I think is the best way to frame it because I don't think we've ever seen something like this in Japan.
Yeah, he's gonna do the Hogan run through Noah and then go back to New Japan as a big star, and Noah's
Yeah.
gonna be left holding the bag.
Yep. And still with new young
Yep.
talent. So I don't fucking know. Anyway, finishing off the Noah, almost finishing off the Noah portion. Um, for the GHC Junior Heavyweight title, Daga defeats Hayata in 90 minutes and 24 seconds with the Diablo Wings, where Hayata fails on his fifth defense and Daga is your new champion, and Eita is the first challenger, and I just
That Eita fellow's a draw.
don't give a shit. Yes, he
Yeah,
is.
he's a draw. He'll be great.
Yes. Yes, he is. He absolutely is. And he can be a good wrestler in Dragon Gate. he just never, ever has shown that outside of Dragon Gate. Like I was so hopeful when he came into Noah. I was like, oh man, fuck yeah, Eita, I love Eita. And then it's just been an absolute wet fart time and time again from him whenever he wrestles in Noah. And and especially Daga is just, just the master of the freestyle special.
Well, if you think
So
it's been a wet
I'm
fart
just
so far, I would suggest
whatever.
pinching your nose because I think that match is gonna fucking suck. Um,
I don't know. Like Hayata is like you haven't gone what I have gone through with like these like endless Hayata title reigns.
it's true. I haven't subjected myself to that. I tend to leave my masochism for the Darth Vader gimp suit. So
Fair enough. No, but Hayata, right? He first won the title in 2017, and he has held it 5 times. He has a total of 767 days as champion, which puts him third all time. He's just behind Daisuke Harada and Yoshinobu
that's
Kanemaru.
insanity.
Yeah.
Who? Okay. Continue.
Yeah, exactly. He has 200 days. Like actually almost on the dot. He has 200 days more with that title than Taiji Ishimori. Taiji Ishimori is at 566 days and Hayata is at 767 days.
I, yeah. That sure, man. I don't know. I can't imagine
Yep.
subjecting my. Yeah, that's tough. I mean, um, short of like,
I mean that's the thing. Okay, I mean now like with the tag titles, like I said, like I kind of like that. What Nova really has a dearth of even more than like heavyweight singles people is like junior singles
so,
people
so
because you have this like
the real hope needs to be
mhm.
that Dragonbane and Alpha Wolf break up and feud for the junior title.
Actually, I would say no because one of my criticism points of those two and Noah has been that Noah only ever books their matches either with each other or against each other. So if they break them up, I would actually hope that like maybe they build that up, but I would actually like to see them feud with like people that aren't
I
each
agree.
other.
You know what? Dragonbane Daga.
Or I don't know, like one of the like I don't like Alejandro versus like Dragonbane. Like there are people that are exciting on the junior roster, they just aren't pushed.
It's fair.
You know what? Ninja Mac versus Dragonbane.
That would
That
fucking
like
rock.
or Alpha Wolf. That would fucking rock
Yeah, you know
actually.
what? You got me. All right.
As long as it doesn't involve any combination of like Daga or Hayata or Eita. You know what? Out of all of this fucking like endless fucking feud, the only one that I would want to like remain in the like singles title picture is Yoshinari Ogawa because he fucking rocks.
True.
So you know what? I hope this whole thing ends with Ogawa, and he just tells all three of them to go fuck themselves, and he just starts feuding with literally anyone else on the junior roster.
Ogawa Alejandro.
God, yeah, like it's literally you just tell me anyone versus Ogawa except for Daga, Hayata, and Eita. I'm gonna say fuck yeah. Well, no, 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 wait. I'll take that back unless it's super crazy.
Gotta get Amakusa in there.
Oh God, yes. Well, he tore his ACL.
Yeah.
So that's not going to be happening for a while. But you know, Junta Miyawaki, if you actually like want to get over him hanging out with two people that smoke weed or whatever, and actually start pushing him again, then
Oh, we
you
don't
can do
need
that.
him. We don't need SB Kento. Those degenerate potheads. Can't do it.
No. Well, I mean, those two aren't lead, so him and Fujiwara, Spikento and Fujiwara. So that's clearly the where I saw the trajectory of those two people going.
Condolences to those guys. I remember when
Oh
those two were
man.
the biggest prospects in Japan, and we're gonna bring prosperity back to Dragon Gate.
And like when we did like the first like in the first year of this podcast, right? We did like the half year awards for
Mm.
2022, and I just remember for like rookie of the year how much of a like everyone was just gushing about like Takuma Fujiwara. and we're like a year and a half away from that, and now he's like
A guy.
a Mexico indie scummer.
Yep.
The fuck?
I don't know. I mean, okay. I guess I'll derail again. That feels like the path for Dragon Gate guys. They get like a lot of hype for the first 2 years that they exist, and then they do nothing from a business perspective, and then they just kind of either go work weird promotions or they stay in Dragon Gate and do whatever Benkei is doing. Um, I
I mean, for modern, yeah, modern Dragon Gate guys, I would
yeah,
say,
like I don't.
because obviously you have like guys like Shingo, for
Yeah,
example.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I don't think I don't know. Yeah, I keep hearing all these like great prospects who are going to turn the fortunes of the company around, and every time that pops up, I wait to see it.
Well, and the ones that actually had charisma were the ones that like
Yeah.
leave, and now you have Madoka Kikuta, which has. You know what? You were saying about like a guy that like does everything to like sabotage his
Mhm.
charisma, but you know what? I will say Jake Lee has more charisma than like
Well, I don't
Kikuta
think Kakuta
or
sabotages charisma. That would
or
imply there's
what's
charisma.
his face? What's the Yeah, that's true actually. Jake Lee sabotages his charisma, but he has it, whereas like the young Gate guys just don't have any charisma.
Yeah. Um,
Fair. I
do you
think that's fair.
remember in like 2000s in like American indies where you'd have these guys who like had no presence, no charisma, but they could do really wild flippy doos. They would usually end up working CZW.
Yes, actually, because that was like my prime years of like watching
That's what
CZW
the
actually.
Dragon Gate prospects remind me of. If you want guys who are
Like remember like really early Shane Strickland as like the Wyatt TV
yeah yeah
champion in
yeah yeah
CZW.
yeah. If you
And he had no charisma at all.
no yeah if you ever wanted to see guys run in circles really fast and do a bunch of flippy doos, Godspeed. And that's kind of what I get of the the modern DG guys. I don't know. I didn't I don't see it with them very often at this stage, and it's like one of them will move 12 more tickets than the last champion, and they're the
Yeah.
next Rock, and it's like I don't know.
I mean, it's like I really like after the N1, I really gave up on Yuki Yoshioka, where it's like, no, like, he
Yeah,
stinks. Like, it's just like, I was like trying for a while and be like, okay, maybe there is something, but like, no, there's nothing there. Like, literally on the last match for that tour where he was
hmm.
on, he was like in a six-man tag match with like the other guys that were in his block, and he literally came out looking like he was like being held hostage. And like, I was like, the fuck is this? At least be professional and like pretend that you care, right? Like, fuck off, man.
Yeah. So are we going to All Japan?
Yeah, just real quick, one more Noah thing, and then we can move on to all Japan after an hour and 41 minutes. I'm gonna speed. Maybe I'm actually just gonna skip a bunch of the house shows because even if I just speed run them, it's gonna take a while. So just real quick, because we have, aside from the Soya vs Kenner match, which we already talked about, we have one more match announced for Noah, which is for Noah the Best 2023 on the 2nd of December from the Yokohama Budokan. We have a special tag match, Keno and Jinsei Shinzaki versus Manabu Soya and Tatsumi Fujinami. Um,
Do you think they're going to give
sure.
Fujinami the legacy run? Is he the next? Is he the next Muto?
No, 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 no. I think
I
this is
don't
literally just
know.
them, because we were talking about it before, where they're like, where we were like, how are they gonna like sell tickets for these shows without Kano title matches? And I think this might be what they are doing here, where they like put these old guys on
I
there in
think
tag
this is
matches
the
and hope that that
Hase
somehow will
angle.
draw. No, because again, like Soya and Kano is like the actual like title match that's being built here.
No, I'm kidding. That is the
Unless maybe they're building for like a Jinsei Shinzaki versus Tatsumi Fujinami match on the
oh
undercard
my
of the
god,
Ariake
yes,
show.
that would fucking rock.
Because sure, why not? Actually, I don't know off the top of my head what's the connection between Fujinami and Soya. Because I know Shinzaki and Keno have a connection because they're kind of like from the same area and
Mhm.
everything.
I believe the connection is they're working a special tag match together.
Yes, I think that might be a 2, and Fujinami is a
Yeah.
draw. And also, oh my God, is this why they've been booking Leona so much, like recently?
You may have put it together.
Oh no. Okay, yeah, we'll see where this one goes. Anyway, okay, we're done with Noah. Over and done with. All Japan. Who have had an absolute shit ton of shows, but not a lot of them have really been particularly relevant. So I'm just kind of gonna touch maybe on some stuff that I thought was like really good on those shows.
You know,
So I'm not even gonna read out the.
you know what? Real
Yeah.
quick, the Soya thing might be because if I remember,
Mhm.
Nishimura was his one of his teachers, like as a wrestler, and
Yeah.
Nishimura is a student of Fujinami.
Ah, so it's by like 1 degree of
Yeah, yeah.
separation. Yeah. So I guess maybe Nishimura was like busy with like legislative stuff or
Doing
whatever because he's
literally
still.
anything else, probably. Yeah.
No. He is like an actual
I know.
politician. Like he has like an actual like
Yeah,
position.
yeah. No, I was just
Yeah.
saying, like,
So it might be that. Yeah. So like yeah. So it might legitimately be they wanted to book Nishimura for this, but he was like, yeah, I can't. I don't. I have this. I have this, and this to do on that date. So like, but I can get you Fujinami, which yeah, I think that makes sense. Okay, so yeah, so All Japan ran a bunch of shows. I'm not gonna read out all of the results for that because uh, this show will go into like absolute overdrive, and Red Circle is gonna yell at us. Um, so I'm just gonna kind of talk about like some stuff that I really liked on those shows. So from the first one on the 10th of on the 10th, the 31st of October, from the Imakane Town General Gymnasium in front of 618 fans, which, by the way, was announced as a super no vacancy. We had in the main event Kento Miyahara and Yuma Aoyagi versus Ryuki Honda and Yuma Anzai go to a 30-minute time limit draw. And yeah, I really like this match. This isn't even the first draw between these two teams that they've done, which I think is really curious and really interesting. I think I'm really interested to see how this affects kind of what they're gonna do with these two teams in the real world tag league, because obviously like there aren't any blocks in the real world tag league, so these two are going to face each other in there. And the fact that they have gone to the time limit draw twice in a row now,
Tells me there'll be a win.
I think that means something. It means something, definitely for sure. So yeah, we'll see where that
Sneaky
one goes.
prediction. One team will win. I haven't watched the Real World Tag League in a while, so if I'm wrong about this, correct me if I'm wrong. With two top point getters compete in the final, correct?
Mm, I don't remember what they've actually announced
Okay.
for this year. Generally speaking, especially if there's only one block, it's actually just the team with the most points that just wins it. But what they've done is because All Japan doesn't do tiebreakers, is that they just have two teams tie
That's right.
on the final night, and then they do a
That's
final.
right. Maybe they do. Okay, well, no, that doesn't make any sense. So never mind. My prediction's out. I was gonna say maybe they have one team. Well, I guess they can still do it. I guess one team beats the other team earlier in the tour, and then at the end of the tour they face off in the final, and the other team gets the win.
Yeah, let me actually take a look real quick when they face each other during the tour. I think it's actually really early. I think that one is actually okay. So it's not the so actually yeah, they're facing each other on the first, second, third night in the Nagoya International Conference Hall. So that is actually a relatively big building. So they're main eventing there, at least from like the match listing I got. I mean, obviously that one's gonna be the main event. But what I do find interesting, kind of on the final night in Kurikan, they're kind of listed as like basically the uh, semi-main is Honda and Anzai versus the Saitos, And then the main currently is listed as Yuma and Kento versus Nakajima and Hokuto Omori.
That sounds fun, at least.
Yeah. So but I definitely could see where like Honda and Anzai beat the Saitos, and then Nakajima and Omori beat Kento and Yuma, and that causes Honda and Anzai and Yuma and Kento to be tied at the top, and then they have to do a main event, and then they have to do like a like deciding final match
Mhm.
essentially. But yeah, we'll see. Like, but I think it's definitely notable that they have gone to a draw twice now, and what that means going forward. Okay, then I don't think there's really anything to talk about from the show on the 1st of November in the Yotsuba Arena Tokachi sub arena for 528 people. Same with the next one on the 2nd. On the 3rd, though, the one I want to talk about there is the World Tag Team title match, where the Saitos defeat Takao Omori and Yoshitatsu in 60 minutes and 24, when Ray pinned Omori with a diving body press. Yeah, I mean, this was really kind of the definition of a filler title defense. And I mean, everyone knew that when they set up the match. Jeff, do you want to know how they set up this match?
Yeah.
So basically, Omori and Yoshitatsu lose a match in the opener, and then the Saitos win the titles in the main event, and then Omori and Yoshitatsu basically like after they lose their match, Omori told like Yoshitatsu, where Yoshitatsu was really frustrated, where Omori then just told him, don't worry, I have an idea, and then they attacked the Saitos afterwards to like set up a title match. So like from the beginning, this was just like a complete kind of joke title defense that everyone knew they were going to lose anyway, because this team is a joke and Yoshitatsu is leaving the promotion at the end of the year because it's long overdue as well. Like he actually has been like this has like his run with like All Japan has been like as long as his entire run with WWE and longer than his run with New Japan. I think it's long overdue that he just gets the fuck out of
Yeah.
here. Okay, then from the show from the 4th, I mean, I liked Yuma Aoyagi versus Ren Ayabe. I thought that was a fun match. I kind of also liked the kind of the match that was setting up the junior title match with Kento Miyahara and Rising Hayato and Gresham defeating T-Hawk, Lindemann, and Abe in 90 minutes and 10 when Gresham used the octopus on Abe to get him to submit. Yep, I mean, again, like you just look at the people in that match and you just know like that's a good match. Like these 6 people could basically like sleepwalk into a great match with each other essentially. Okay, but then we get kind of to the 2 main shows, and both of them happened on the 5th of November from the Hotel Emicia in Sapporo. So we had an afternoon show and an evening show. So we're gonna go through the afternoon show first. The afternoon show was in front of 596 fans, which that is actually generally right around what All Japan would draw in this building previously, also like pre-pandemic as well, which is when they put kind of Jake on top a lot because he is from Hokkaido, so they kind of used him as like a local draw and everything. So yeah, I mean I think it's definitely good to see that like them kind of drawing the same kind of number as they were kind of with the local guy on top. Although if Hokuto Mori is also a local guy. So then in the opener, again as I was saying, Yoshitatsu's leaving this promotion, and this again was more fodder for it, where Ren Ayabe defeated Yoshitatsu in 7 minutes and 42 with a Falcon Arrow. Then we had Atsuki Aoyagi and Rising Hayato defeated Hikaru Sato and Ryu Inoue in 10 minutes 41 seconds.
I think they've got something with Hokuto Mori.
Yeah, Yeah, yeah. I mean, my thing with Hokuto Omori is he is very clearly a step behind his peers in terms of
Mhm.
in-ring work, but he has a lot of
He has a lot of
charisma,
charisma, and he's
is what
great
I
at
will
getting
give
his
him.
ass whooped.
Yes.
His selling is
Yeah.
phenomenal.
No, no, no. He's really great at like yeah. And he also like I think actually him teaming with Nakajima is
Mhm.
great. Because he kind of has like very similar prick energy. Like he doesn't have the same intensity as Nakajima, but they're both like really good at just being like assholes,
Well,
basically.
Nakajima is also going to be the hot tag, right? Hokuto is
Yeah.
going to spend the entire match getting his ass whooped, which I think is his strength. I don't think he's particularly great on offense. Um, but if you just have him in there getting battered by Suwama, he's fantastic.
Yeah. No, no, he's really good at that. It's just if you kind of look at like the other people, like there is a certain working standard at the top of the
Mm.
promotion, and I don't think he is
He's
at
not.
that level. But I think like something like this team with Nakajima is like perfect spot
Mm.
for him, essentially. But yeah. Okay, so the next match. Takaro Mori, Tomoya, and Noriyuki Yoshida defeat Black Manta, Fuminori Abe, and Hokai Kumagoro. 7 minutes and 38 when Omori hit Manta with the Axe Bomber. Then in a special singles match, T-Hawk defeated Dan Tamara in 10 minutes and 51 seconds with the Night Ride. I don't know if you watched this
No.
one, Jeff. No. I actually this one like as we were talking about before, kind of about how T-Hawk is like really good, or a lot better in All Japan. I think this was again yet more evidence of that because I thought this was actually like ended up being a really really fun match, and he definitely did a lot better than like his great compatriot on the show. Then in the next match, in a special six-man tag match, Kenta Miyahara, Yuma Aoyagi, and Shuji Ishikawa defeated Suwama, Ryuki Honda, and Yuma Anzai in 40 minutes and 41 when Ishikawa pinned Anzai after a Splash Mountain Bomb. One thing I will say on this is it's interesting that Anzai, now that he's a bit more than a year in, is actually taking a lot more
Mm.
pins than he was during his first year. I think it was really good that they like because they protected him a lot during his first year. Like he was taking very few pins, which again is extremely unusual in Japan for like a guy that is like a literal
Mm.
rookie. But I think it really helped establish him as like a guy that is important to fans like
Mm.
immediately. And I think now that he is actually established as like where they're like, look, he isn't triple crown level yet, but
No.
like pay attention to this guy. He is gonna get there eventually, and we are going to push him. So keep your eyes on him. And now that they've actually managed to do that, they can actually have him be a bit more of a guy that can take pins in like six-man tags, especially if it's against guys the level of Ishikawa.
Uh,
So I thought that
well,
was just like an
I
interesting
also
thing to
think you
note.
run the risk of overexposing him at that point, and if you telegraph it too
Yeah,
heavily, risk the fans turning on him. I think the fans are more into him now that he is taking pinfalls. It's added some layers to him, I think. Um,
yeah, because before he was actually like weirdly like an unbeatable Superman unless he was in there with like Minoru Suzuki and Shingo
right.
Takagi.
So I think this has been a positive for him on the whole. It's funny. When I was reviewing things, I literally said my dog is currently making a horrible mistake. Uh, I don't I don't know if I should yell at them on the mic. But yeah, um, Yuma Anzai. Yeah, I think Yuma Anzai is somebody the fans really desperately want, certainly in the long term. But I don't think it's likely that I think if they try to do it within the next year, it's too soon. But 3 years from now, I think if he hasn't hit that level, I'd be really surprised.
Yeah. Oh, yes, for sure. Because again, I mean, it was already extremely unusual for Japan to push like a
Mm.
rookie the way they have. It's even more unusual for like all Japan, which tradition like which has like historically been a promotion that is like very conservative with its booking, like almost to a
Mm.
fault. Because All Japan for a long time had kind of that similar issue like Noah has, where like they didn't really develop their young guys a
How,
lot, or they kind of missed a
how
window.
much do you think Nakamura poisoned the well for like the super rookie push?
Um, I don't know because I'm trying to think what other super rookies post
I mean, Okada's the only
Nakamura they even
like
have
like
been.
Okada didn't debut the like it. Okada returned from his excursion was great, so I don't think it's comparable to
Yeah.
Nakamura. But I mean, Nakamura just like appeared one day, and they were like, "This is the next guy, accept it," and fans were like, "Okay, but what if we don't?" And
Fair enough.
and I don't I do kind of wonder if that rejection that was there for the initial Nakamura run has somewhat deterred companies from trying a similar.
I mean, maybe. I mean, because I will say at the very least that like Anzai is like really
Mhm.
over. I don't think there's any indication right now that fans are
Well,
rejecting
he
him.
also hasn't.
Like I think quite the
No,
opposite.
but I also think he hasn't had. I mean, his push isn't quite to the level of the initial.
Oh yeah,
I'm
no,
saying so. I
yeah.
think if he
He
had
was just really protected for a young
yeah,
boy.
yeah. So I'm wondering if he had, you know, like I'm sure they would have liked to have done that or something close to it. Like that is the vibe I got, but I wonder if there was hesitance, positive hesitance, frankly, to go all the way
Hmm?
because in the past it hasn't gone well.
I mean, what I will say, while obviously I think even back then New Japan's business metrics were better than All Japan's
Mhm.
are now. I also think that at the time of the Nakamura push, New Japan's main event scene was more dire than All Japan's main event scene is
I
right
agree.
now, if that
No, I
makes
agree.
sense. Because at the very least, like All Japan right now has Kento and they have Yuma. They can still get at least a little bit of juice out of Suwama if necessary. So like there are like three people there, whereas who else did New Japan have when they like decided to give that super rookie push to Nakamura?
Ooh, I mean, technically, so that was what 2003. I mean, obviously, you know,
Nagata.
Nagata was there. I mean, Tanahashi was there, but not. He wasn't Tanahashi.
That's not like in no way, shape, or form
Yeah.
was he like the Tanahashi that
I'm trying to think. I
he is
remember
now.
the big card. The main event of the January 4th show that year was Nagata versus Barnett, right? So
Yeah,
they would have had Kosaka, Fujita, Takayama.
yeah. Which, as someone that watches a lot of No, I can fucking tell you that Fujita is
Yeah,
nothing, and he
they
never
had the
was.
ghost of Masahiro Chono still. You getting your juices flowing?
Yeah, but that's like
Kojima
Chono
was
with
there,
like
but he wasn't full
negative
time, was
leave.
he? I can't remember.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I think that is actually before. No, I think 2003 is before Kojima's jump.
Well, yeah, I don't think he was, but I think he was there.
Sorry, or I think that is just after he jumped to All Japan. I think that is actually after he's gone.
I think he worked the January 4th show that year.
2003. No, he didn't. He worked one
It was the January
show.
4th show.
Yeah, he worked. But that was literally his only thing he did
Yeah,
in New Japan that entire
yeah,
year.
yeah.
Like it was him and Tenzan versus Nakanishi and
That's
Chono.
yeah. No, they didn't have anyone.
Like okay, not to like go on another New Japan tangent, but okay, I'm just gonna read you out that January like 4th card because it's
Diner. I
dire.
remember it not being good.
So opener is Nishimura versus Tatsumi Fujinami in 8 minutes.
Okay, that's
Then you have the Young Generation Cup semi-final. Yutaka Yoshi defeats Shinya Makabe,
oh, that
aka
skinny
Shogi
Takabe,
Makabe.
skinny Makabe. Yeah.
Yeah, that is still skinny Junior
That's funny.
Makabe. Yeah. The next one in the Young Generation Semi Cup final is Yanigasawa defeats Kenzo Suzuki.
You're not a Kenzo Suzuki
Then you
guy?
have. Hmm?
You're not a Kenzo Suzuki guy?
No, not really. Uh, Then in the next one, in a tag team match, you have Dai Majin and Makai number 1 defeating Hiro Saito and Tatsutoshi Goto by DQ.
That's what, the third best Goto?
Yeah. Also, you know who Dai Majin is?
Giant Silver, right? Yeah.
Yep. Then in the next match, you have Makai number 4 and Makai number 5 defeating Masahito Kakihara and Takashi Iizuka.
That's
Then you have
Shibata.
Yep, that's
Shibata.
really bad. But still, that's Shibata teaming with Nagai.
Yeah. 2003 Shibata isn't what he would become.
Yeah, that too. Yeah. Then you have a 6-man tag match: Jushin Thunder Liger, Koji Kanemoto, and Takehiro Murahama defeating Heat, Masayuki Naruse, and Tiger Mask.
Okay, that match may not have sucked.
That so far is the best match, but that's a really bad sign.
It's not great.
Yeah. Then in the Young Generation Cup final match, Ryushi Yanagisawa defeats Yutaka Yoshi in 6 minutes and 48 seconds, who also didn't really do a whole lot afterwards either. Like, I don't even remember why he retired.
Yeah. It's not good.
Okay. No, it's not. It doesn't get much better as we get higher up the card. Then we have Michiyoshi Ohara and Shinsuke Nakamura defeats Kazunari Murakami and Tadao Yasuda.
7 minutes, that could have been okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hiroyoshi Tenza and Satoshi Kojima defeat Manabu Nakanishi and Masahiro Chono, which might have been the best match on the show.
I remember that one going pretty long compared to the rest of the card.
Yeah, it was. It is. I think it is actually by far. Yeah, it's not even close. It's by far the longest match on the show. It's 23 minutes,
that
18
makes
seconds.
A lot of sense to me.
Then in the semi-main event for the NWF Heavyweight title, Yoshihiro Takayama defeats Tsuyoshi Kosaka in 10 minutes and 18 seconds.
Yep, that was a match.
And then in your main event for the IWGP title, it's Yuji Nagata defeats Josh Barnett in 10 minutes and 14 seconds with 5 votes from the cage match inmates, has a score of 6.0.
Oh, okay. So that's actually pretty disappointing because I actually thought, okay, I could get up. Like, that match sounds exciting, but
yeah, no, this show's terrible. Probably an all-time bad like Wrestle Kingdom.
Yeah, it wasn't great.
And it was in front of approximately, you didn't see me do the air quotes, 50,000.
Yeah. They have the attendance. I think I saw listed at one point was 30. But that was also probably being very
yeah, I think if you look at footage from that show, like this, the way those numbers are legit. I mean, look at the card. There's no way 50,000 people wanted to watch that shit. Anyway, to go back, so for the top 2 matches of the afternoon show, for the All Japan World Junior Heavyweight title, it's El Lindemann defeats Jonathan Gresham in 12 minutes and 44 with a Tiger suplex hold for his 4th defense, and this El Lindemann reign keeps going. I mean, we were kind of talking about it already, right? Where like El Lindemann is just really lazy, and I think really ever since he lost to G-Rex, he just, I don't know. I think he just basically is just like, is what he is, and his motivation levels seem to just have dropped off a cliff, and this. If Jonathan Gresham can drag you to, like, I think it was a good match, but if Jonathan Gresham can drag you to a match that is like anything special, really, like it's a match that I'm gonna forget even happened. Like if you ask me again in like 5 years that like, hey, do you remember Lindemann had a match with Gresham? I'm like, he did? Like that's bad. But I think in general though, Gresham, I think, fit in pretty well in All Japan. Like I'm hoping that they do actually bring him
My
back.
my issues with Gresham
We'll see.
are largely, I think his strikes have always looked like shit. Like the package when I
Well,
see him
yeah.
is great. He has an awesome look. I actually think him being small helps. Because
Hmm.
he's jacked.
Especially in
Yeah.
All Japan, which is a really tall
Well, he's
promotion in
jacked. I
Japan.
mean, it is kind of
It's
funny when
tall
he's in
Japan.
with like
Yeah.
Swama, so it looks like he's. But I mean, but he has a great look. His in-ring work is sensational, but his strike, like his drop kick, always misses by 12 miles. Everything is just a little light for me. I'm the, I know I'm a strikes pervert, I guess. Yeah, I am the origin.
Nothing wrong
I'm
with
the
that.
originator of the take that Moxley is overrated because his strikes are dog shit. Um,
Okay, I do disagree with
I,
that
I,
part.
I mean, listen, I've seen Moxley in some great matches, but when that brother is not laying it in, it's unfortunate to me. It's super see through. I can't do it. But I have that same problem with Gresham, but on the whole, I think he's a great wrestler. And I think if they could somehow get him into, like, say, the junior scene, it would really, really help them out.
Yeah. No, no, no. I mean, he was kind of the biggest import in terms of like foreigners and like forever,
You can also
basically.
tell Gresham is working for his continued employment because he's burnt a lot of bridges
Yeah.
and is running out
Yes.
of places that are interested. Very telling that New Japan didn't
Yeah.
bother bringing him back.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think that is telling as well. So we'll see if he burns. I hope he doesn't burn his bridge with All Japan because I think All Japan actually can really need someone like can really use someone like him.
Mhm.
We shall see if they bring him back after this tour. I think it's telling though that on their first tour with him, they immediately gave him a title match, which isn't something All Japan is doing
Mhm.
generally. But yeah, we shall see if this was a one-off or if they turn this into something like a bit
Well,
more
he
regular.
was the PWI number 36 wrestler or whatever he was saying. So
Yeah, still, I still can't believe that that's like a thing that actually happened. Where like Tony Khan was like, "Hey man, can't book me like this. I'm in the PWI number 31." Like, come on, man. Like, it's such fucking dog shit, dude. Like, I like Gresham, but man, come on.
I
That's
want to
like
imagine he
he
told
should get
Gator that.
shoved into a locker
I
for
want to
that.
imagine he told
Like,
Gator that.
I maybe that's why I didn't like. And that works even less, right? Because I think with Tony Khan, because he is such a wrestling nerd, I think you actually have a chance of that doing
Yeah, you've
something.
got no shot with that Gator.
Gedo doesn't give a shit at all. He's like, what the fuck is the PW
Gator's like,
500?
oh yeah,
Get the
yeah,
fuck
yeah,
out of my
yeah,
office.
yeah. They get 500. Would you like to eat a wrench from show?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, in the main event of this show, we have for the All Japan World Tag Team titles, we have Jun Saito and Rei Saito defeating Minoru Suzuki and Hokuto Omori in 21 minutes and 33 seconds. When Jun Saito pinned Omori after the Doom for the second defense of the titles. And yeah, I thought this was better than the Takao Omori and Yoshitatsu match. Um, Solid match, nothing great, I would say. But I am curious how the Saitos are going to do in the real world tag league, though.
Mhm.
But I do expect them to lose the titles on the January Hurricanes against whoever wins the real world tag league. All right, and then on the evening show on the same day of the 5th of November, also from the Hotel Emicia in Sapporo in front of 797 fans, which is actually the best number All Japan has ever drawn in that building. And it's a building, like I think they're actually the promotion that runs this building most regularly. So I think that is actually noticeable that this is actually the best number they've ever drawn in that building. Like I don't know what the max capacity is for this, but I can't imagine it's much more than they've drawn, to be honest. Just based on previous
Right.
numbers. Okay, and then in the opener, Takao Mori and Yoshitatsu defeated Hikaru Sato and Sydney Shota Stevens when Omori pinned Shota after the axe bomber.
So
Then
they
we,
pulled a
yeah.
janitor from a local school for this, correct? Who the
I mean, maybe
fuck?
there are.
I just tuned in and
Yep.
it looks like one of my friend's dads is wrestling in the opener for All Japan. It's like that was unfortunate. It was funny for 10
Okay.
seconds watching him get beat up, and then I was like, what am I doing? You know?
I mean, fair enough. Yeah, but it's something that All Japan does, where they pull on these like local guys just to like maybe sell some more tickets, but then they put them on like the undercard and just drop them out, which, you know what, I think is fair enough. Like they might look like shit, but like it's your opener against like Takao Mori and Yoshitatsu. Like it's whatever.
Yeah.
Although I'm like, is there maybe someone else you might have some questions about? Because in the next match we have Noriyuki Yoshida and Hokai Kumagoro defeating Black Mansoray and Tomoya in 6 minutes and 29 minutes, 29 seconds, after an Inazuma leg lariat from Yoshida on Black Mansoray.
Those are certainly names you just said.
Yes. So what are your thoughts on Hokai Gumagoro?
I don't know. This match was nothing for me. My eyes glazed over. I didn't like the work. Um, this was probably the low point for me on the card, truthfully.
I mean, there is actually a bit of lore here with Hokai
Oh,
Gumagoro.
good.
Um, so basically, he used to wrestle under the name Brute Issei,
Mhm.
like years and years ago. And he was actually seen as like a bit of like, I wouldn't say a hot prospect, but at least like a guy that All Japan was actually building up in like 2006, basically. And he had like a really bad like shoulder injury, which took him out of commission for like 11 years. So he actually really only has come back like recently with this like Kumagoro like gimmick where like he carries around the fish and all of that. But this is actually a guy that if he didn't get like a really bad injury, he actually could have been something. Like I don't know if he ever would have been like a really good in-ring
Mhm.
wrestler, but like I mean, you can still see it underneath like the like gimmick that he's wearing right now,
Yeah.
right? Like he's like a pretty tall guy and all of that. So you can see where like he would have had like a lot of appeal to a promotion like All Japan
Mhm.
especially. But obviously got derailed by a massive injury and now he's doing this.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is interesting that he's like back in All Japan now, like um uh wait, math is deserting me right now. 17 years later.
Yeah.
So, which is a lot of
A
time to be
lot.
frank. Like, yeah. But yeah. Then in the next match, Minoru Suzuki and Hokuto Omori defeat Suwama and Ryo Inoue in 7 minutes and 50 seconds when Suzuki uses a Gotch-style pile driver on Inoue. I think this was like the first time you've ever seen Ryo Inoue, right?
Yeah.
Is there any wrestler he reminds you of?
I mean, a lot, but to me, he seems like a somewhat generic secondary heel. Like I don't know how to put it, but like
Hmm?
he just seems like a tier 2 shit heel in a tag team. I don't know.
Mhm.
He was good. I mean, he
Well,
was solid.
okay, so the thing is,
He was solid.
no, I mean the thing is with him is he's still like basically like I think he's still kind of a young
Mm.
boy. I don't know if they fully like graduated from him yet, but like his look and everything and his style of wrestling is like very reminiscent of Kawada. Like we've actually dubbed him Mini Kawada now.
Interesting. Uh, maybe. I would need to see more of it before I made that assertion. Uh, the thing that struck me in this match, not to get super off course, but the thing that struck me in this match was Sawama beat the fuck out of Amori. He beat Amori like
Yes.
he owed him a fortune. That was that was a real shock to the system because the first two matches were pretty light, and even the kind of the work in that match was light to a point. But the minute Omori and Suwama touch the ring, Suwama just starts beating the dog shit out of this man. And I'm like, did Omori do something wrong? And he hits the Insiguri, and like Suwama barely
not
sells
recently.
it. Like Suwama barely pretends it happened, and he does the hot tag for Suzuki, and I'm thinking, okay, they're building to something here. Suzuki's gonna come out with a big hot tag. This is gonna be a stiff exchange. Suzuki's gonna get shit over, and Suzuki has the softest hot tag you have ever seen him have in his life. Like he barely touches Suwama. Like the forearms look like, the punt barely landed. I was like, what the like? I think, and then Suwama starts throwing back, and he's much lighter with Suzuki. I'm like, oh, these two have a gentleman's agreement not to beat the piss out of each other. Okay, Suzuki's taking it easy in here. Poor Omori, on the other hand, is just getting the shit beat out of him. Yeah, it was funny. I was, if they would have had a hot exchange with Suzuki and Suwama, I was flirting with 4 plus. I love the Omori Suwama stuff. That's to the credit of Ryo, he was pretty good, but yeah.
Okay, no, fair enough. I mean, I like this match too. Not quite that much, but yeah, no, I mean, it was a solid
I'm
enough
saying
match.
because if they would have fit in a Suzuki Suwama kind of stiff stretch, I think it would have helped pick up the back end of the match. So I'm just going off of the Omori Suwama stuff when I say it was cruising towards 4. My expectations, because I still have a view of Suzuki in my head that probably isn't adjacent with reality.
Yeah, I think you kind of need to move on from like Suzuki being
Good.
like a great
Yeah.
wrestler, unfortunately. So I think like Suwama can actually still go a lot more than Suzuki can. Funny enough.
I mean, Suwama's selling looked pretty Like he doesn't seem like he wants to move a lot these days. But I can imagine if Suwama is in the lead position in a match though, if he's doing 70% of the offense, that'd probably still fucking rock. So
I mean, not talking about Suwama being a lead position, but he's also the like All Japan like 6-man tag title, the All Japan TV 6-man tag team title champ, where he is currently kind of in a bit more of a sub role essentially,
okay.
and I do mean it in that way because he is currently teaming with Mayumi Osaka and Maya Yuhiki, where he is basically just a sub and is like kind of like getting whipped by them in the
That's
ring.
weird. I don't like it. All right.
Yes.
I don't need that image of Suwama.
And then we have in the next match Shuji Ishikawa and Ren Ayabe defeating Jun Saito and Rei Saito in 5 minutes and 34 seconds.
My condolences.
When
my
Ayabe.
condolences to Black Mentor Ray. This was actually my least favorite match of the night. I think the Saito Rose fucking suck.
I mean, this was really weird. This was
fucking
really
sucked.
weird. Why are the tag champions getting beaten in 5 minutes?
Because they fucking suck.
And also, like, June uses to, like, no. Okay. This is the only thing you've seen of them, and you can't say that they suck.
They look pretty fucking bad.
Okay, here's the thing with the Saitos. I think the Saitos is, like, okay, what I want you to do, right? For the Saitos is I want you to go back to the show on the 9th of October where they won the titles.
Okay.
And if you still don't like the Saitos after that match, then they're just not for you.
Okay. I'll give it a go.
Well, maybe to entice you a bit more, they won the titles from Kento Miyahara and Yuma Aoyagi.
Okay, I'm interested. I'll give it a go.
But the match is 37 minutes.
37 minutes?
It's really good. Don't let yourself get. Don't let that put you off from it.
That sounds painful. I'm gonna need the Darth
so
Vader
much.
gimp suit.
Okay, Jeff, it has and current cage match rating of 8.11.
All right.
Okay, so we will have news for you at some point once Jeff has watched this match and what his take on it was then. Okay, so but let's move on to the next one for now. So in a junior premium six-man tag team match, Dan Tamura, Rising Hayato, and Jonathan Gresham defeat Atsuki Aoyagi, El Lindemann, and Fuminori Abe in 30 minutes and 59 seconds when Hayato used the Sid Vicious on Fuminori Abe. Yeah, I thought this was this was really good, and I will say El Lindemann was very clearly like the weakest guy in here.
No, I think that's fair. Sorry, my dog is starting to get restless. No, I think that's fair. I thought Gresham really stood out in this match. He looked great. He looked like, to me, he was the guy who definitively showed up to work. Like I said, he's working like a guy who's looking for consistent work after burning a lot of bridges. So, good find for All Japan. He, like I said, he looked really good, especially in contrast to other people in the ring. I thought Lindemann in particular was a little bit of a letdown for me. He didn't really do much. I've never been an Abe guy, so this match didn't change that for me. I was also the low man on the Abe Space Detectives or whatever the fuck match from earlier this year, which I know isn't a popular take. A lot of people love that match, and it's great, and I'm happy for it.
No, it really isn't. Abe is like the one guy. I hate autographs and I hate mark picks, and Abe is the one guy where I broke both of those.
Yeah, I mean, listen.
I literally have like a Fuminori Abe like signed picture like behind me.
Sorry, friend. I can't do it. It's not working.
I mean, fair enough. Like sometimes a guy is just not for you.
Yeah. But other than that, yeah, the match was good. I went like 3.5. Not really much else to say. I thought Gresham stood out a lot, but I think that was by design. So.
Okay. And then in the semi-main event, Kento Miyahara and T-Hawk defeat Ryuki Honda and Yuma Anzai in 70 minutes and 46 seconds when Miyahara pinned Honda with the shutdown suplex hold. I thought this was awesome.
Now, I will say I think Honda was the weak point of the match.
I disagree.
Ooh, okay. So I did not enjoy Honda that much. Now, maybe if I had been along for the journey, maybe if I wasn't dropping in, the way he works would make more sense to me. But to me, he just looks eh. I'm sure that's part of the gimmick.
Because to me, he would have been a guy that I think you would have liked really a lot.
No.
Because he's a big hoss and he just hits people.
He does, but like his work just looks eh to me. I don't know. Yeah. Now, I mean, there were points in the match where he looked pretty good, but there was a lot of it where I was like not impressed. I would need to see more of him before I made a sweeping judgment. I would say, like, but and it could be an issue of I was much more enraptured with Miyahara and T-Hawk. But
Fair.
I thought he was comfortably the fourth best guy in the ring. Like I didn't think he was. I thought Anzai looked better. I did think Anzai was. I did get the fan support you were referencing earlier. That's very much there. It's really impressive for a guy that young. And it's funny. The big note I took for Anzai from that match is I hope they don't rush it, because I think he's building that connection with the fans over time, and I think these are the kinds of matches that'll help him do that. Just being across the ring from Kento and seeing that, I mean, I don't want to have a long Miyahara tangent because I mean this is an AJPW and Noah show. Everyone here knows Miyahara is phenomenal. But as somebody who doesn't watch as much Miyahara as maybe I should, every time I watch him, I'm struck by how fucking awesome he is and how genuinely tremendous his presence is. He reminds me, and you'll know, given my stance on the person I'm about to name, that this is like a genuinely really high compliment. He reminds me so much of Tanahashi.
Oh, that is really okay, guys. Like you might not notice, but this coming from Jeff is like literally the highest
I think
possible endorsement you could give.
Tanahashi and Terry Funk are my picks for the greatest wrestlers of all time. Uh, I for
Okay, that is really
for
big.
years I couldn't appreciate Okada because he came after Tanahashi, and I simply didn't think he was that good. Like love Okada. I think Okada is one of the greatest wrestlers of all time. New Japan is incredibly fortunate that they've had two back-to-back aces that are transcendent talents. But I have Tanahashi ahead. But so much of Miyahara's charisma and the way he projects himself reminds me of a prime Tanahashi. If anything, with a touch more of a swagger to it. And I mean, because it's different, it shows itself differently. But it's flexing instead of an air guitar. Um, and I just I really enjoy Miyahara every time I see him. He's phenomenal, and it shows in these it shows in his singles matches, but you really get it in these undercard tags. I guess it's not undercard, semi-main, but you get the idea. It shows in these tags, and it really showed at the All Together show. Um,
Yeah, I think there's actually something I can tell you about Miyahara that we learned recently, which I think really puts everything into perspective. His favorite wrestler growing up was Hulk Hogan.
yeah, that makes sense.
So like basically he is Hulk Hogan if Hogan was a great worker.
Yeah, kind of. I see it. I get it. That makes sense to me. And if you look at Tanahashi's influences, they were largely Western. Um, so
Yeah.
um, no, that makes a lot of sense to me. Um, we kind of touched on T Hawk earlier. Um, he was sensational in this match. I couldn't help but watch it and think like we need to get him in a bag and drag him away from Strong Hearts. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Also, maybe one more point on Honda as well. Would it kind of change your mind if I tell you that Honda is 23?
Yes, he looks like he is 45.
No, he is
Oh, hold
23
on.
years old.
He's a territory throwback then. All right. Okay, hold on.
Yeah, no, he's a young
I've got
guy.
to
Like same with
reevaluate this now. Hold on.
yeah.
I thought that player was
you
45.
just basically just no. He's actually one of the last Wrestle One
Oh my
trainees.
god. He looks like he's he I was
Yeah.
like, this is like some scummer who's had a long career and just randomly found himself.
No,
I'm like, I don't
he's
know.
5 years in.
Fine. And it's like, it was like, he's great. And I'm like, really? If he's 23, he's really good.
Yeah, exactly. Okay,
I
okay,
would have
okay. I
thought,
was really wondering about that, but like I think that kind of changes the
okay,
whole like
I
perspective on
legit thought
him.
he was in his 40s. That brother looked old.
No,
He,
no, that's why they put him and Anzai
that's
together
so
because they're
fucking
basically
funny.
like these are our next two guys.
I think he's gonna turn 40 and look like he's 86. All right, maybe.
No, oh, I think he's just one of those guys that will like like Arn Anderson,
He's gonna
who
look
was
the
like
same age forever.
24 and he looked like
Yeah.
48. Yeah, and now he's like 62 and he looks like he's
Yeah.
48.
Interesting. All right.
Okay, that explains it a lot more. I was like, why is he down on Honda? It's like he's 23 years old, man. He's like starting his career and he's still
Yeah, I
already
didn't have
really
that
good.
context.
But that makes a lot more sense if you're thinking he was like Mitsuya Nagai.
Yeah, I thought he was like 45, and I'm like, I don't know, he's fine, but I'm not, I'm not tearing up the checkbook for this guy. All right.
Okay, so glad we cleared that one up.
Yeah.
Okay, and now let's get to the match. Actually, probably most of the people are even listening this too far.
I hope you enjoyed the last
Katsuhiko
2.5
Nakajima
hours.
for the Triple Crown. Yes. Well, I mean, I asked Rich actually what it is if we kind of go over like 3 hours, and he's like, "That's fine. Like as long as we don't go like super over, it's okay." So we can do like let's put it this way: we can devote a lot of time just to
There you
this
go.
match. Yeah. Okay, so for the Triple Crown, Katsuhiko Nakajima defeats Yuma Aoyagi in 24 minutes and 16 seconds with the Northern Lights bomb, which means Yuma Aoyagi fails in a sixth defense, and Katsuhiko Nakajima is your new Triple Crown champion.
Okay, so who's going first?
You
I
go
went
first.
5. I
Okay.
fucking love this match. Uh, so I will confess, I had not seen much of Aoyagi to this point. I had seen him, but not a lot. I hadn't watched most of his title reign. I haven't been tuned into All Japan that much. He is phenomenal. One of the best fiery puro style baby faces I've seen in a while. It's crazy to me because I felt the same way about Naoya Nomura um, when he was kind of having his big rise. And when he left, is ironically like kind of when he started not he got injured somehow, I believe. Um, but that really actually is kind of what turned me off of All Japan for a bit because I was really invested in Nomura. This guy is literally just better. Uh, he's great. I mean, he's phenomenal.
Yeah.
He's a tighter worker
Yeah.
than Nomura. He has the same charisma. He has a better look. He was phenomenal, and then to pair him with Nakajima and let Nakajima kind of work his natural tendency, which is that hyena-esque veteran shit heel, was amazing. And Nakajima fucking pummeled him. Aoyagi, to his credit, took one of the greatest ass whoopings. Like, I mean, maybe not one of the great, but just a tremendous ass kicking from Nakajima. Nakajima beat the shit out of that guy. And it really amplified the match for me. I haven't seen a lot of this kind of stuff in Puro recently. There's been a lot of, I think, I don't want to say Western influence, but I mean, that's kind of what I would call it. There hasn't just been a match, like, to me, there haven't been a lot of matches like this year, where it's just two guys beating the absolute shit out of each other until one of them can't go anymore. And that's the impression this match gave me. I fucking loved it. No nonsense. It was all entirely believable. There was enough, like that mid-match spot where Nakajima punts him in the fucking ribs, and you could hear it. It was so gross. I love that shit. So yeah, I went 5. I loved it. I was very, very excited with it.
Okay. No, fair enough. I don't have that much to add because I think I'm kind of mirroring a lot of your thoughts that you had on it. Like I thought this was like peak pro wrestling. I think it fell just short of 5 stars for
Mm-hmm.
me. Um, because again, like right, the thing with a 5 star match is like you watch a 5 star match and once it's over, you know it's a 5 star match,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like it's to me, it's like a thing that operates purely off of like feeling. And if you have to think about it, it's not a 5 star match. And I think that's what I had with this match where I was thinking about it
Mm.
afterwards. Where I was like, is this a 5 star match? And that made me realize it's not. So, but it's definitely a match of the year contender, I would say.
Yeah.
I will definitely like rewatch it. Like I will definitely like rewatch it once I do all of like which I actually have to do soon.
It's in my top 10 for
Kind
sure.
of like rewatch stuff. Yes, I think it will very easily make my top 10 as well.
Do you think this is better than the Miyahara match?
Which actually, no, I think the Miyahara match was
Okay.
better because the Miyahara match had that element of realness. Because the Miyahara match, so sorry, which one do you mean? Do you mean Yuma and Miyahara or Nakajima and
Sorry.
Miyahara?
Gotcha.
Nakajima Miyahara to me had that kind of like realness element where like you know that there's like act that or at the very least there used to be or maybe still is actual heat between
The
these
crowd was
two
also
because
a
of
lot
what
better.
like happened. And the crowd was a much better too, yes. The crowd was just absolutely the Hurricane was just completely molten for that
These
match.
two earned
So like that one
every bit of applause of noise that they generated, whereas it was just
yeah.
kind of innate to the Miyahara Nakajima match. There were
Yes.
moments in this
And that's why
match
that one
that were legitimately
yeah.
silent, and that if anything was going to knock it down from 5, that would have been it, because there were legitimately just moments of the match where
Yeah.
the crowd didn't. You could have heard a mouse piss on cotton. But they worked the crowd and got into it. got them into it, which is arguably
Yeah,
more impressive, but still.
true. But like that's why, for example, like Nakajima versus Kento, like that's a 5-star match for me.
I agree.
And I mean, with them facing off on Yu Yogi and me being there live in fourth row,
Yeah, I
uh,
am incredibly
that
jealous.
might be a,
I'm incredibly jealous.
I am thinking, I am very happy that I got those. It was a bit difficult to like get our hands on them, but I'm happy that we got them. Um, that one is probably gonna have a lot of like live bias, but I have a feeling that one is gonna make like a late run up my like match of the year list.
Yeah, I went
uh,
to Forbidden Door 2 this year, so
oh god, yeah, that's really good. Yeah.
well, I was the low person on Danielson Okada in the building. I didn't think the match was very good.
Really, okay, I watched it afterwards, and I think because I knew at that point that Danielson worked the match with his arm broken, actually
I
enhanced it
didn't
for
know
me.
until after. So at the time, I just thought it was like a forced.
I think that does make a difference.
So
Yeah.
at the time, I was just like, I don't know, it's like a 4-star match. Yeah. And I mean, that sounds like weirdly dismissive of a 4-star match, but you don't picture that with Okada Danielson. But I was
Yeah.
super into Omega Osprey. I thought that was sensational. I had seen Omega twice and had never quite gotten it.
Hmm?
My opinion of Omega skyrocketed from that match. I already had a great high opinion of Omega. I think he's one of the. I thought he was one of the 20 best workers of all time. My opinion of
Hmm?
him from both a work perspective and a presentation perspective, just he was so good in that match. Anyway, yeah, that was my comparison point for you getting to go see a phenomenal fucking match that you're gonna overlook in a live club.
Yes. I mean, to be fair, I was at the 2019 Best of the Super Junior finals,
Wow,
which was
Osprey Shingo, right?
Shingo versus Oz.
Yeah,
That's still the best match I've ever seen
damn,
live.
yeah, that's
That was so fucking good. And this, I think, has a chance to rival it.
yeah, no, I'll tell you, this is gonna be a really hot take. I think just given the atmosphere and everything, I think this will probably be the biggest match of that weekend. Whatever they do on
You mean bigger than any
any
of the
bigger than
ones
anything
at
on
Wrestle
Tokyo Dome.
Kingdom?
Yeah.
It's definitely bigger than anything Noah booked. Yeah. No, I can see that
Uh,
argument. Yeah. And like just the way like tickets are just like flying off the shelves for it as well.
do you think they could have booked a bigger venue?
Like one of the ticket sites I looked at basically had like everything was like few tickets remaining except for like the second floor tickets.
Do you think they could have booked a bigger venue?
I don't know if I want to risk that as All Japan. I think I'm just gonna take the selling out Yoyogi. If they somehow manage to do that, is a massive achievement for
I
All
agree.
Japan at this point. So I'll just take that
I agree.
because otherwise you might like. I'd rather take that than them running like a half empty sumo hall. Which I don't know how much I would have sold there, but yeah. Also, just real quick, one more thing I wanted to bring up. I really wanted to make sure I bring up about the match was just the finish. Just Nakajima A using the Northern Lights
Mm-hmm.
bomb, and then also using the like Akira Hokuto pin on Yuma
Ah,
Aoyagi as well. It rocked so much. And I was already like when they did the first match, I was already like, why don't they use like Sasaki and Hokuto at all in the build up, right? Because they're both kind of really essential to
mm,
this. Because this all of this heat between Kento and Nakajima stems from their time in their
mm,
dojo and from Nakajima training Kento and again being a prick.
mm.
So, but I have a feeling that maybe they are actually going to like use those two a bit more in the build up for like the Yoyogi match to like do like some promo like do some promotion and everything for it and all of that. So because it would be weird if they don't get involved with it at all. And I think like Nakajima using like this specific finish for this match, I think was also like it is symbolic. For
Yeah,
sure, I
it's
will say.
no, yeah, that was
So yeah,
yeah, that match was amazing.
Just tremendous pro wrestling. Yeah, like that Yu Yogi show. Like I mean, like that match alone is gonna make it great. But I'm really curious what they're gonna like put on the undercard and everything, and how they're gonna load it up because I feel like they want to make this like their biggest show in like a long time.
Yeah, I mean, so okay, this
Feels big. It already feels bigger than the 50-year anniversary, which is fucking
I
weird.
agree. So yeah, I mean, this is kind of circling back. I understand that Minoru Suzuki isn't what he was, but I imagine you can
Hmm
get one great singles match out of him with the right dance partner. Maybe I'm wrong, but I would at least think it's possible. Why? What do you think?
Would you have him put over Anzai here?
And I was gonna say anti-Iraqi.
Yeah.
I think that I mean, but I would have done more of a build to Suzuki being kind of a shit heel. Like I don't.
I mean, I will tell you, Suzuki Anzai have already had a singles match previously. I
How
think
was it?
that was Anzai's second ever match.
Oh, it's like
It
okay.
was good.
Um, yeah, I mean, no, that would be a good spot to do it. I mean, Suzuki isn't getting any younger. If you wanted to have a chance of getting a great match out of him, this is probably if the window's not closed, it's closing. Um, so
Hmm
yeah, I think if this run just turns into what it's been thus far, which is not Suzuki doing the JOB for people I think he maybe should have been doing the JOB for, um, I think I don't see the point, frankly. Um, like if the peak of this run is him just doing tags, I don't know that that substantiates his fee. I think you have to book him against
hmm
Anzai or somebody to that level and have him lose. I think that's the correct decision. Um, I also think Nagata needs to lose on the show. I think I would be doing what I could to get Nagata back on the
Yeah.
show. He's clearly still.
I mean, to be fair, in that case, I think actually Nagata putting over Anzai is a lot more likely.
I think Nagata putting over Anzai would be good. I really think.
Because that is Anzai's debut at All Japan's 50-year anniversary was against Yuji Nagata. And Yuji Nagata is on record that he absolutely loves Yuma Anzai. Like he really badly wanted Yuma Anzai to come to New
Yeah,
Japan. And the only reason he didn't get him was because Suwama went to the same school as
yeah.
Anzai.
I think, but I think Aoyagi deserves one of those two in a big featured
Yeah.
spot.
No, I agree. I
Um,
agree. Yes, I would do Nagata puts over Anzai and Suzuki puts over Yuma.
yeah. I think that's correct.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, and then let's just real quick. We're not gonna go over all of the real world tag league cards, and we kind of already gone over the final night. So we're just kind of quickly gonna go over the field for the real world tag league, and I'm just gonna ask you what you think about each
Okay.
individual team in general, and just kind of blindly your predictions. What you think their chances are of winning the
Sure.
tournament? Okay, so first off, we have Jun Saito and Rei Saito, the Saito brothers.
I shall not speak. My first exposure to them wasn't very good, but I understand they're a push commodity, so I guess they
No,
have a chance. I have a pretty good chance of doing well.
yeah, I mean they are the champions still.
Yeah. Oh, well, I guess that changes. I guess they probably won't win the thing at that point, but they'll do well, I'm sure.
Yeah, no, I think that's unlikely. Yeah. Then we have Yuma Aoyagi and Kento Miyahara.
I fucking love that team. If Kento wasn't going to be prominently featured elsewhere, I would say that would be my pick to win it. But I guess they'll probably lose.
Yeah.
That team fucking rocks. Yeah,
I think they'll stay in the mix until the end, but yeah, I don't
I
think they're
agree.
gonna win. Ryuki Honda and Yuma Anzai.
It's a nice little team.
hmm I think actually they're my favorites to win.
Ooh, I hope they don't because I want them to have singles matches.
Where?
Or
Oh, you mean at
yeah.
Yoyogi? No, 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 no. So basically, the Real World Tag League champions challenge, like traditionally at least, they challenge at the Korakuen show on the 3rd of
Oh yeah, that's
January.
right. All right. Too many goddamn shows.
So they can do both. They can have singles matches at
Yeah,
Yoyogi and then
yeah.
just do their title challenge at
Okay, then yeah, that's
Korakuen
probably my
on
this
the New
probably my
Year's.
favorite one.
And we have Suwama and Hideki Suzuki.
That's a grimy fucking team. Well, I'm not. That's not like I don't know. That just feels like it's such an old head fucking team. I like that team. I don't think they have a chance.
Yes.
I guess
Yeah.
they could win. I don't know. I don't know how Hideki's pushed these days.
Yeah, I think they have a chance to win. I would give them like outsider chances
Yeah.
to win, but they're already teasing that Suwama and Hideki aren't getting along, so I think that might be something they're brewing there. We have Shuji Ishikawa and Ren Ayabe.
They'll be fine.
Yeah, I also think Ayabe is like getting signed in January to All Japan.
Oh, nice.
Like he's another guy that is like I think he needs a lot of development still, but he's
But
still
there's
pretty
potential.
young and he's like legitimately tall. Like he's really tall.
Violent Giants 2.0.
Like he's basketball player tall.
Violent Giants 2.0.
Yeah. Then we have from DDT Yukio Sakaguchi and Hideki Okatani.
Yeah. Those are certainly names.
Okay, no, those are actually two of the best wrestlers
I know Sakaguchi is good.
in
I don't like
DDT.
the other guy.
Yeah. Now he is a younger guy. He's like kind of the eruption young boy basically.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Then from Bleach we have Hayato Tamura and Galeno del Mal.
Wow.
So Galeno you have never seen
No.
Galeno del Mal. He is the brother of Dr. Wagner of El Hijo de Dr. Wagner Jr. And I am currently live googling a picture that I will show to Jeff, and then we will get Jeff's live reaction to what Galeno del. Oh, actually, I have the perfect one because here he is next to his brother. So I can just show you that.
This is excellent audio.
He is on the left.
Okay, honestly, kind of Chad.
Yep.
I'm kind of into it.
Yeah, and even better, he does Yave, like the technical like loop.
Okay, hold on.
So he does like arm
Hold
tracks.
on. Is he good? Is he
Yeah.
good?
Yeah, he's really good actually.
Okay,
Yeah,
I'm interested.
he did like on in like his like third or second match in like Bleed, he did like a cannonball, and they treated that as like a knockout finish.
That's so fucking cool. Yeah, I'm into it.
Yeah. Like I think if I'm All Japan, I'm not letting that guy walk out until I get him to like sign on for more
Oh god, yeah, because if
he's
you
just
could run him
perfect
and
for All Japan.
Wagner Jr. as a tag team.
Oh, God, yeah, I'm surprised Noah hasn't brought this guy in. Like it's just actual like booking malpractice.
Jeez. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, and then we're taking a bit of a downturn
Uh-oh.
now. Japan, Tokyo, Kuroshio, and Seigo Tachibana. So, if you don't know, Japan, Tokyo, Kuroshio is the new name of Ikemen
You're just
Kuroshio.
making things up.
No, I'm dead serious. That's his
People
new
don't
name.
know. All right.
And then we have Cyrus and Ryan Davidson.
All right.
Wait, I think I need to show you a picture of
Oh,
Cyrus.
I am a looks guy. I can
No,
be
not.
swayed. I'm
Well, I mean, okay, what type of look?
just unique. I mean, in shape helps, but if you're not in shape,
Yeah.
you know, I want King Kong Bundy fat, not Kevin Owens fat.
Oh yeah, no. I think then you actually are gonna like
Okay.
him.
But it has to look intimidating. It can't be like Beer City Bruiser, you know.
Okay, let's see. What do you say?
That's really low res.
Yeah, okay, try to find. Look, he's an indie wrestler. He's like a fucking Texan indie wrestler.
I don't know.
Can't really find good pictures for him.
I don't know. Okay, he exists. The look has not like swayed me. If that's what you were hoping for.
Okay. Yeah, but he's basically just a fat guy that hits hard.
Neat.
Yeah. And then our last team, Katsuhiko Nakajima and Hokuto Mori.
I like that team.
Yeah.
I
I
don't
am
think they'll
really
win,
looking forward
but
to that team as
I
well.
think they could do well.
So, yeah. No, I think again they're one of those teams that is gonna stay in the mix. I mean, they have to, like, they literally have the Triple Crown champion there. So like they're gonna stay in the mix, and yeah, until the final night. But yeah, I don't think they have a chance of winning. So like if I just look for that entire field, to me, just Honda and Ansai are just the most logical team to win this. Because like a lot of the other ones are just outsiders or the Saitos who are champion. Yuma and Kento. Well, Kento has the Triple Crown match coming up, so I don't think they're gonna win. And then same with Nakajima and Omori. So maybe, and so that's what I mean. Like it's Honda and Anzai, or maybe Suwama and Suzuki. But I think, to me, Honda and Anzai are like the clear favorites here.
Fair.
Okay, so I think then it's about time we wrap this up. We might actually come in at just under 3 hours, but I'm actually really proud of us given how many tangents we
Yeah,
went
no,
on.
we got in under the 3 hours. Everything cleaned up pretty nicely.
So then, yeah, plug your stuff. Jeff.
I don't have stuff. I have a Twitter that I might remember. I think it's
My condolences.
yeah. Or no, it's an X now. Even though that sounds like I have like a porn account.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
Yeah, you might want to go. No, you might want to go to your doctor
yeah.
with that.
Jeff_Andrews21. It might change at some point. Maybe I'll find something better to do with my life. I don't know. Probably not. I occasionally write articles for Voices of Wrestling. They are usually New Japan adjacent or sweeping commentary on what AEW is up to. I'm not particularly enthralled with their current existence. So, other than that, you can usually find me shit posting in the Discord, much to Rich's detriment and contempt. And if you're in the Slack, you can find me shit posting there. So that's pretty much my.
I'm pretty sure everyone that is in the Slack has seen your shit posting in the
Yeah.
Slack.
If you haven't, feel free to tune in. I'm sure it'll pop up at any time. No, I mean that's pretty much it for me.
Perfect. Okay, then thank you very much, Jeff, for joining. And yeah, we're probably gonna be back in about 2 weeks, kind of talk about the Real World Tag League and whatever's happening in Noah. I'm actually kind of currently in the process as well of doing a bit of a Big Japan rewatch, so I might talk about that as well if time allows. So, but until then, see you next time.
Music, it's not just part of our daily lives, it's part of our wrestling fandom as well, and it has been for decades. That's where this show comes in. Music of the Mat, the podcast devoted exclusively to the music of pro wrestling, hosted by Andrew Rich. Hey, that's me. Each episode delivers a different topic with a variety of great guests, fun conversations, musical analysis, and of course, a heartfelt pun or two. New episodes drop every other Tuesday on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, or your podcast app of choice. Check out Music of the Mat only on the Voices of Wrestling Podcast Network.